Halloween
forever.
Guys, you got any Thanksgiving leftovers still hanging out in the fridge?
No,
bro.
No, ate them up. I cooked way too much this year. Like, I ended up having to throw some of them away.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a waste of good stuffing. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another episode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I am wondering how long you spent writing that joke.
I literally thought about it 2 minutes before we got on the show. Before we started recording, I thought of it at about 6:28, and boy, it was worth it. It was worth it. Anybody out there who's looking to hire a comedy writer, you can't afford me, so just fuck off.
It's exclusively for dad jokes, though, too, that no one wants.
Waste of good stuffing. I did chuckle to myself when I thought it up.
The first and only Hellraiser pun ever.
Listen, I'm the Neil Armstrong of Hellraiser puns. If you haven't guessed from that fucking hilarious joke and the title of the goddamn episode you checked on or clicked on, we're going to talk about the Hellraiser franchise. This is our December Secret Satan Hellraiser Showdown episode, which is a mouthful. And what that means, for those of you who are new to the show, normally what we do is we pick a topic or a genre or a franchise, like in this particular instance, and then we each pick our favorite movie or a particularly poignant or relevant movie to the topic. We talk about it, we argue about it, we defend it, and then eventually we vote, and one of us gets to take home the belt, the championship belt for the month. This month being the month of December. And really Advent. I mean, we're celebrating Advent, I think, most notably. I think we can all share in, the fellowship of the Hellraiser franchise during Advent. We decided we were going to do our take on Secret Santa, or what we're calling Secret Satan, because if you're not familiar with the Hellraiser franchise, the middle of it sucks ass. So we are good. So we each at random picked a name out of a hat. We obviously picked one another. We didn't pick ourselves, and then we secretly chose a movie from this franchise to give to one of our co-hosts that they have to defend. So kind of similarly to the roulette, John Carpenter roulette thing we did in October, this is our Secret Satan episode. So we each were chosen a movie for us that we had to watch, and then we're going to have to talk about and defend. But we do not know yet, although hunches are flying about, who picked which movie for whom. That being said, again, for those of you who are the first month listening to the Showdown episode, Steve is our current champ. Steve took it home in November, which was our Was that haunted houses? Yeah, that was haunted. It was haunted houses. What many of us are referring to as a controversial win in the last pay-per-view with it was haunted houses. And again, let us recall, this is a horror movie podcast. Steve took it home with Beetlejuice.
What? I have
controversial to say the least.
I just feel like Steve has had the belt for too long already. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
November was too long.
Like that because November was a 5-week Monday month.
That's true too.
So it had 5 Mondays instead of 4. You've had to wait extra long to even attempt to get at the belt.
Whoa.
He's just been sitting there shining, and you can't see this, but on his on Steve's background here, it is a close up of the belt. So it's almost like the belt is like his bed, and he's just like rolling in it, lounging in it.
He probably does use it as a pillow.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty comfortable. It is made partially of a discarded yoga mat. So there are harder belts out there. But yeah, so Steve took home the Showdown strap for the month of November. So we'll talk about some beersies and whatnot here in a second. But Steve is going to be responsible for choosing the order in which everyone goes this evening as well. So before we do that, if you have any desire to help us choose our topics in the future, or you just want to drop us a line, or you just want some spooky ooky content on the social medias, you should probably go over and follow us at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, at Halloween is Forever Pod on TikTok. Yeah,
podcast.
Halloween is podcast. Is it podcast on TikTok or
podcast.
pod? I thought it was pod.
I thought it was pod too.
Yeah, it's Halloween is Forever podcast on the Facebook.
I definitely am not managing our TikTok. It is pod.
Listen, that was the one time I actually got it right. And then it's at Halloween is Forever pod on, or I'm sorry, oh my God, you fucked me up, Meg. I was doing so good. Halloween is Forever
I'm just trying to throw you off here.
at gmail.com if you want to send us an email, because we do accept those as well.
You know, I got my tactics. Tactics.
I know. She's already trying to throw me for a fucking loop here. I need to get this beer in me. Speaking of beers, Ian's got some, or
yeah,
we got.
I got beers. So we're doing virtual episode, which means I can go goose, and I have the triple IPA from Abjuration.
Oh, goddamn!
Yeah, their version 2.0, which was a part of their 4th anniversary that just happened a couple weeks ago, or last week or whenever. But yeah, it's 10.2% on the ABV.
Hey.
I avoided that beer like the plague that night. I was like, I cannot fuck with that. I saw Steve at that their celebration, and I was like, nah, I'm going for.
Was he carrying the belt around?
He was. Yeah, he was actually trying to flaunt it in my face, and he just kept on calling himself the champ every time he walked by me. I was pretty upset. I actually left and cried.
I just imagine you guys at this party standing on opposite sides of the room, just glaring at each other while Steve holds up the belt over his head.
Yes, with our respective factions of brewers and podcasters.
He just totally told me that he signed his receipt champ as well, and I was like, that's really, you know what? That's next level stuff.
Yeah, it's rude and ignorant, but Dave and Tom accepted it. They're just like, we understand.
Yeah, Steve. We know who the champ is. We're talking about Steve. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Just a couple things on the beer, though. Mm-hmm. They interestingly did list a whole lot of the ingredients on it to let you know. So, they put the hot side hops, which are Citra, Mosaic, Idaho 7, and Moteku. And then cold side hops were Citra, Mosaic, and Moteku. Yeast is the Verdant, whatever that is. Never heard of or used.
The Verdant. I don't know what that is. Not used that one either.
I haven't either.
And then it has a whole bunch of water stats that don't make any sense to me at all, because I don't know any of that.
They put water chemistry stats like dissolved parts per million of different minerals, or
so let me read it and see if either of you get it. But Ca 100.
Yeah, calcium.
Yep, just dissolved calcium, yeah.
Okay. SO4 130, then Cl 170.
Yeah, so they did sulfite, chloride to sulfite ratio, and then total dissolved calcium. So I mean, putting chloride to sulfite ratio is more valuable than putting I guess parts per million of all these different different minerals. Yeah, or even IBUs, frankly.
Yeah, I'm curious why they did it, because I feel like no one would really even understand that. I feel like half the brewers that I know don't even understand it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big thing on their website. They usually have the full recipe that you can build a home brew off of.
That's cool.
And then they just went all out and put everything on this. Yeah,
calcium is kind of a suggestion towards just total dissolved solids, and then chloride to sulfate ratio is essentially, if you're skewing more 1-to-1 or towards chloride, it should be more rounder and softer, which obviously if you're brewing a New England style IPA, that's probably what you want. If it's more sulfate driven, it can be it's going to be a little bit more sharper, a little bit more dry, express the tannins, express the kind of a little bit more astringent hop bite. So old school, Burton style pale ale or English IPA would be, might be 8-to-1, 10-to-1 sulfate to chloride. So that's kind of what that ratio means. I know you guys out there, you fucking whore notes, you're dying for that water chemistry knowledge. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. The only other brewery that I know that really like gets that nerdy on water chemistry is Dovetail in Chicago. They actually do like blind water tastings of like the different waters for their beers, like on their tour, which is pretty wild. Yeah, they're cool.
Things I am into.
Yeah. What do you got, Meg?
So again, I'm actually recording at work again. So I grabbed our Schwartz beer called Base Layer that I'm super digging on right now. So yeah, I feel like every brewery is making one right now, which makes me feel like I need to go out and be social.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
It's season of the Schwartz, you know? So yeah, it does seem like the dark lagers are on the upswing, which I will not complain about because I love me a fucking Dunkel, love me a Schwartz beer. Speaking of dark lagers, I have an amber lager, a half dark lager, if you will, from Smith and Lens Brewing in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. I was down there visiting my brother and sister-in-law for Thanksgiving, and we went to Smith and Lens, and holy shit, man, their beers are so fucking good. Their lager beers are so great. The only thing they had in cans were that I was that interesting because they had like an IPA and stuff, which is not, I mean, it's not bad or anything. It's just not what I'm going to bring home. But Vienna, Pils, and then I got a couple Crowlers. Their Northern German Pils was absolutely fucking phenomenal. I drank like 2 or 3 of them while we were there, and then I took Crowlers home as well. Yeah. And they had a killer ass Keller beer. They're Czech. They didn't have any cans. I was so sad because their Czech Pilsner's fucking great too. So good. But yeah, all their lager beer is so good. Pizza's great. I love that place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but this is their Vienna lager. It's like it's super clean. It's definitely kind of a more authentic, like paler, drier, a little bit more sharply bitter take on a Vienna lager. It's not like the early American craft ones that are just like fucking caramel malt bomb, and it's like that's not that's just the fucking American amber ale that you put lager yeast in. I'm digging on this one though. I only have like 4 of them left, so I'm gonna be cherishing them. Actually, my brother's coming up in like 3 weeks, so I guess I could have him bring me more. Anywho, them's the beers, you guys. We are recording virtually today, so we're not going to do the regular snackies and the spicies, but we do have 3 goddamn movies to talk about, so it's probably a good thing to just jump right into this. Otherwise, if you've been listening to the show for a while, this motherfucker might go for like 4 hours.
Oh God!
No, that's true. These movies are not great. So we, but in any case, probably jumping into it's not a bad idea. But before we do that, Steve, you got to tell us what the order is going to be.
Yes, I do. So I think because Meg is so antsy in the pantsy to try and win the belt. Whoa. We're going to start with Meg.
Fine, I'm ready.
She is antsy in the pantsy. I mean, look at her. She's spinning in her chair.
I'm going. I'm tapping my foot.
I was going to say her foot's bouncing.
Then it'll go me, and we'll close out with Brian.
Okay, fine. Fuck you. I'll do that.
I don't know why you get so upset. I feel like
no matter what, if I would have went first, second, or third, I would have been read into it and be like, "Oh, really? You're trying to fucking play me? Trying to play me?" No, that's that. Listen, that works for me. I'm all about it.
I feel like I want to approach this month's like a book report. Be like, this is what happened, and this is why it was good.
Can I tell you a quick book report story real quick?
Can.
So my cousin, who's a very, very smart guy. He's like a network security engineer or something like that. Now, he in high school was deathly afraid of public speaking and did not want to do speech class, and like literally otherwise like an A, B student, almost like didn't pass high school, almost failed his senior year because he wouldn't go to speech class. He was so nervous about giving speeches. Wow. So finally she would let him give them to him like to a small group or before class or whatever. But in any case, he would give the same speech in every single class. And it was like 30 seconds. And it was always about Barry Sanders, the NFL running back. And so it would just be him listing a bunch of stats, and we had to give different types of speeches throughout the year. Like you'd have to give a persuasive speech, right? You'd have to give a descriptive speech. You'd have to give one of them. We had to give a eulogy. We had to give all these things, and he would just start it different. He would go, I am here to persuade you that Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time. He had 2,800 yards. And then he would be like, the eulogy would be like, we're here to celebrate the life of Barry Sanders. He had 2,800 yards. And it would literally be that.
Oh my God. That's fucking amazing.
So like anytime we're at like a wedding or something of like other mutual friends or family, people will always joke or like throw that joke into the speech of like, Barry Sanders has two. It's like at the wedding. Completely unrelated to Hellraiser, guys. But let's fucking do this. Unless you want to hear some more high school speech.
It might be more entertaining than us talking about all these movies. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hate all of them. I guess I'll be fair to him. I didn't hate all of them.
Did you hate your own?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't hate my own.
You're lying so hard.
Yeah.
I'm like looking down.
I wish you guys should see how hard Meg's lying. She's like, did you hate your own? She goes, I didn't hate my own, and her eyes were doing this. Just side to side like a ping pong ball.
Sorry,
Meg, you don't have to lie, Meg. You didn't do it to yourself. You didn't pick this movie.
That's true. That's true, but at the same time, it wasn't my least favorite. I'll be fair there.
So yeah, I mean, me too. Yeah, it wasn't the worst Hellraiser movie I've watched. That's for sure. I mean, it was close. It was pretty fucking bad. I'll be honest with you.
All right, let's jump into this, guys. Okay, let's just get this shit show over with.
What movie did you do? Tell us.
So I was gifted by one of you motherfuckers, Hellraiser. Hellseeker from 2002.
Yep.
Let's see, directed by what the fuck are my notes? Rick Boda. See, I'm just gonna be angry the whole time. How about I just give it to you guys in an angry voice?
This motherfucker.
Yeah. So to surmise, really, what this movie is about, and I can probably finish it up right there. A shady businessman attempts to piece together the details of a car crash that killed his wife, rendered him amnesiac. Wow, I was almost gonna fuck up that word, guys. There's gonna be one word every episode.
No, you got it.
And I did get it. And left him in possession of the sinister puzzle box that summons monsters, which I hate the way they fucking that. What I found interesting about this movie, just to like dive right into it, was that I was confused the entire fucking time. And I'll start off by saying that I was trying to watch as many Hellraisers before this like episode that I could, but I didn't get to this one. So I was going into it completely blind.
Do you typically pronounce them Hellraisers?
I'm going to start calling them Hellraisins. How would you like that?
Hellraisers? Have you seen the new Hellraiser?
It's a
have you seen the new have you seen the new chic triple blade Hellraiser?
Yeah.
I just feel like the term hell, I think I say it in a way because I love metal music so much that I'm like, I think of it as like it could be the next big like
I think you're
band.
Thinking Hellraiser.
If I was from Boston, I'd probably be like Hellraiser. Like I would probably like say it like that too.
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. What was that accent?
No, Steve, try that again. That was
no, that's 10%. Never mind. Let it go.
You gotta go back to the old drawing board on the Boston accent.
Yep. Have a couple more sips of this beer and skip that one.
So I feel like to go through every ounce of this movie, but then know what the ending is, doesn't completely make sense. So I'm gonna go through the things that I thought were great and the things that I felt like were the shit-tastic parts of it. But I mean, the whole movie was very confusing. So you're like getting this character who's so dissociated the entire time. Like he's having hallucinations. He's like jumping around to different scenes and you kind of just don't fucking know what's going on. But I kind of started getting a hint halfway through, having not seen this one before. And you know what it was that gave it away for me was that at the end of 5, because we did have to rewatch it for this episode, was when that character was like reliving at the end, reliving everything that happened. I was like, that's what they're doing in this entire fucking movie, which is what they're doing. So he's like reliving all these different situations that he went through before he died, to come and find out that so another, I think, which is a good point to this, is that callback to having Kirsty Cotton come back and like come into the fold, who's played by Ashley Lawrence. So I found that twist to the whole situation. And so we come to find out that basically Trevor, our leading man, Dean Winters, gifted her the infamous box that summons all the Cenobites, summons Pinhead, and blah blah blah. And I don't know why I say that, guys. Blah blah blah.
This movie is
because that's what this movie does to me.
Yeah. The synopsis of this movie is blah blah blah, Pinhead, blah blah blah, Dean Winters, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So basically, you come to find out that he gifted that box to her, which I feel like is the biggest dick move in the planet. But basically, he was like planning the entire time to kill her, and so I think he somehow thought that this would just trigger her to like. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's very clear exactly what he thought he would do with this box by giving it to her. But he definitely was like, I'm going to be a shittier human being and give this to you because I know how much this fucking can fuck you up. So she uses it basically against him. And that's what we come to find out, is that she makes a deal with Pinhead, which I think it might be one of the stupidest twists of it. Like, I'm glad.
You know what? It was the best part of the movie, though.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it sucked, but it was the best part of the movie.
No, but I thought that her turning it on him and the idea of that, I was like, man, this is a great revenge plot. I think that part is amazing. Mm-hmm. But I feel like to basically try to barter with Pinhead, I feel like it almost goes against the sinister nature of Pinhead. I don't know if you guys feel that way at all.
But it's a reoccurring thing. There's a lot of deals that get made throughout the franchise, though. So he is a little bit, because he's a demon, right? He's not Satan, he's not the devil, but he is a demon. He is a steward of hell in some capacity, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of wheeling and dealing in the Cenobite world.
Yeah. He's usually pretty amenable to deals. So I think it's.
We should talk about that more, because I feel like I maybe missed that throughout it. I always saw him
at the
as
end of my movie. We didn't get that there yet, obviously. But at the end of my movie, there's a proposed deal. The first two movies, there's deals too.
There's I think what you might be conflating, Meg, is in 3. When he loses his human side and they separate, then he becomes he just becomes a killing machine, and he isn't into dealing anymore.
Okay, gotcha. So, maybe that was what I was thinking of and stuff like that. So, but anywho, so she makes this deal. She basically proposes that she's going to give him 5 bodies, and she gets to keep her life, basically. So again, I think it creates this like really good revenge plot to the whole situation, and I thought that was a great turning point for it, just because I felt like with this movie being I didn't like how much they made it so confusing just up until the end, or like going back and forth, and like you kind of gain, like I said already, like gain insight on like what's actually happening if you've watched like other movies. But I still think it was a little silly and drawn out, and I think the fact that we didn't see as much like Cenobite or Pinhead like gory action in this one, I feel like that kind of took away from it as well. I'm really not selling this, you guys. Like, it's much for me to fucking
it's
sell.
Very repetitive of a movie. Like it's definitely very repetitive. It keeps doing like the formula is, and I'll explain the formula first is, so Dean Winters. So if you don't know who Dean Winters is, Steve, you said he's the guy from, is it Allstate? The Allstate commercials?
Oh,
yeah. He's like the Allstate chaos guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who's like, like he's the random chaos guy that like fucks up people's days. You know what I mean? On the commercial. He was also in like cop show. He's always in like fucking cop shows.
Cop
and
shows.
Stuff
He was
like
on 30 Rock. He was Liz Lemon's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that we talked about last episode. He's Liz Lemon's boyfriend, who he fucking steals the show on that.
Right.
Like he steals every scene he's in. He's so funny. But this was this has got to be one of his first roles, right?
It's got to be early at least.
Yeah, he's not.
I mean, 2002.
Yeah, it's got to be close, right? He's not unbelievably bad. The script is unbelievably bad.
The script is terrible.
Yeah,
and like we can talk about why it's terrible. And
yeah.
So if there's any screenwriters who are listening to this at the moment, there are two pretty solid rules to follow when you're writing a script. One, every scene should have conflict, which I think this film kind of does.
Yeah,
because
almost only conflict.
Yeah, it's almost only conflict, and every scene he's in conflict with somebody. The other one is you have to have your protagonist take action towards a goal. And the thing is, that doesn't happen in probably till like an hour in.
No,
right.
The whole film is him being bounced scene from scene for scene, getting into trouble with people.
Yeah,
he doesn't take any real actions for himself.
I'm almost curious if they felt like they were being clever in doing that, where they're like, I'm going to almost create this puzzle for you, because that's literally what I felt like it was. By them jumping, you kind of are constantly trying to figure out what's going on, which I think in a general sense doesn't work in most situations and didn't work here. I think most people would probably be annoyed by it, which I found myself being really annoyed by it.
So I think an example of a film where you have kind of the same structure almost of a protagonist who's just thrown scene to scene to scene and isn't making choices for himself is The Big Lebowski. Because Jeff Lebowski is basically, he's like picked up by the cops. He's picked up by Jackie Cherry Horn. He's bounced all these different places. He doesn't actually ask to go to these places.
Right.
You know, but you're more interested in what's going on there because there is kind of a puzzle. This puzzle is, I don't know, I think maybe, again, if you've seen other movies like Jacob's Ladder or even just Hellraiser 5, you've already put everything together and it becomes kind of a drawn out, like, let's go.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
That's what I wrote in my notes. It's like Dean Winter's character is on like a dark ride and he's just going around corner just going around just getting people jumping out and saying boo.
I like that. But it pretty much was the
whole thing just reminded me of somebody trying to be very clever, and you could tell, like, I think, Steve, you mentioned this. This was not supposed to be a Hellraiser script, right?
Right.
This was a completely other script that somebody was trying to do, like a cross between like Memento and the Dead Zone or something like that.
Memento, Dead Zone, Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, and it just, there actually isn't. You just said this and it just jumped in my mind. Isn't there almost a Jacob's Ladder-esque like hallway scene? Isn't there a scene where he's like looking down these like corridors and there's fucked up things happening? Or maybe I'm just imagining that, but
I mean, it's both in my movie and this movie. So five, 6, 7, and 8 were all spec scripts that were purchased by Dimension and then repurposed as Hellraiser films. So, that's why you get like these very strong vibes of other more popular movies because it was just probably like a not so great screenwriter put something together that very, very much similarly represents another film. Like,
are we calling out Carl Dupree and Tim Day? Let's do it right now, officially on air.
Actually, no, not them. Those guys just wrote. Like, they just took the scripts that were written, I think, and repurposed them.
Gotcha.
I think they're just writers for hire. They weren't even the people who originally wrote the spec script.
Yeah, they were the script doctors, if you will, who had to come in and go, make this a semi-cohesive Hellraiser movie.
Right. Yeah. Put Pinhead
this was probably sitting on a bunch. Yeah, put Pinhead in this fucking movie. Yeah, this was probably sitting, at the bottom of a stack on someone's fucking desk for a while.
I feel like if it was a half hour shorter, it probably could have possibly had a little bit of legs, though, for Layden trying to repurpose it even, because I think for a very short period of time, like, I didn't mind this idea of like, oh, you don't really fully know what's going on. And And then once you start piecing it together, you're kind of like, okay, cool. But at that moment is the moment I wanted to just get gory as fuck and start like having people fucking die. And it just doesn't happen.
If you're going to do this whole like very non-linear plot structure and bounce around and all those sorts of things, the payoff's got to be really big, right? Or it's got to intrigue you enough where you want to know the mystery a little bit. And any fan of the Hellraiser franchise, even by this point, would have absolutely known what was happening.
Yeah.
So there's no mystery. There's no carrot to tantalize you, to keep you watching, and the payoff sucks.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I think the only redeeming factor is I did like the callback and bringing like the character of Kirsty Cotton back into it, and actually having her still win in the end of all of this.
That was the best part of the movie.
Like,
I think I said the movie wasn't worth watching except for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing worth watching.
I had that same thing written too. And it would be a far more interesting film if it wasn't that he was dead the whole time and is just in hell.
Yeah.
But rather that he was like kind of getting framed for all these murders. So just to jump to the the ending and what the spoiler is that Kirsty opens the box that Dean Winters gives her and confronts Pinhead, and then makes a deal of, I'll trade my life for 5 lives. And Pinhead says that's cool. So then she goes and kills all the people that cheated on her cheated with Dean Winters on her. Yeah. All the people that he was, adulterous with, and then the other guy who was plotting to kill her for the money that she inherited from her father and Uncle Frank from the previous films.
Which is Dean's just like work acquaintance who's willing to murder for him.
Yeah.
It was his cubicle buddy. It was his next door cubicle buddy.
But also was so upset with this that he still decided that I'm going to kill myself,
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think he did kill himself.
You don't think he did?
No, I think Kirsty killed them all.
But I feel like we saw them in their deaths. Like, that's why I think he might have, like, maybe she, like, still somehow, like, because it was the only one where we could believe that maybe she didn't do that actual death. Because he even said at the end, like, where he talked about, he specifically said that he took his life when he was reviewing the deaths and stuff like that. So,
that's the only one he didn't walk in on and just go, oh shit, there's a dead body there.
Yeah, but there's the other scene at the Wizard of Oz scene where Kirsty is talking to everybody that's in Dean Winters' dream, and she's talking to the detective, and the detective's saying that all of the people were killed with a gunshot to the head.
Oh, that's right too. Yeah. They were tortured and then gunshot to the head.
Yeah. So and the gun is shown in their apartment a couple times. So.
Oh, you know what? I could actually agree with you on this then, is that the gun that he used looked very similar to the gun she used when she shot him too, when he apparently, like, that makes sense then too. But I'm just curious because I feel like this is why it might still be confusing, and why is that all the other deaths, even if they were done by that gunshot, like, I feel like you still kind of saw how they we witnessed how they could have gone, like, in some capacity, like when we watched, the one, like, on the video and all of that shit and stuff like that.
I think they were trying to demonstrate too to that's like Dean, because if you don't know anything about the franchise, right, and you just walk into this movie and you don't know anything about Hellraiser or whatever, you assume Dean. You don't necessarily assume Dean is the bad guy.
Right.
We're calling him Dean. I don't remember what his fucking character's name is, but
what
I'm talking about. Yeah,
I think
it doesn't
it's
matter.
Trevor, actually.
I feel like within the first 15 minutes, I was like, this guy definitely is maybe a little nefarious. And
because he's so
a little
aloof.
bit of a cheater. He's such a like, you could tell, like, that they're playing him out to be like, he's definitely done some shady things with, like, other women.
Yeah, they definitely hint at it. You're right.
Yeah.
They definitely hint at it. They also do the whole, like, he cares a medium amount about Kirsty. Like, it's very clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
I remember at one point, like, somebody was giving him a hard time, and he goes, "My wife just died." Like, he just was like, or no, like, somebody. I think it was like something was happening.
It was when his boss Gwen.
Yeah, it was Gwen.
Yeah, she starts coming on. She's like, "Come on, my wife just died." But he's like always like so like. he's always like whispering in almost like a Christian Bale-esque like way, and he's
not
always
here,
like,
not now. Let's go in the corner. Let's go in a closet. That's basically, I think, what he's.
But and he's
saying.
also always squinting and brooding. Like I just fucking.
I think that's just his face too. You know,
it's a little bit his face. Yeah, I think it is a little bit his face. I also love that no one in this movie has any fucking chill at all. Like they all just play. They just lay their cards on the table. The cop will come up and be like, I think you did it. And then later he's like, I don't think you did it now. Like, it's just like.
Oh my God. I was like reviewing some of the notes just to go a little, like my more detailed notes than I skimmed over a lot tonight. But what I actually cracked up was the one scene when Trevor was first on the bus and there was that metalhead who was playing music and he was like, mind turning that down? And I just like, I feel like the look that he gave him was the absolute best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was so perfect.
Yeah. And just turns up the volume on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although like the butt rock through the film is terrible. Like,
yeah.
it's just
my
definitely.
God. It's really bad.
Awful.
Yeah.
I will say, I really, really appreciate like the beginning of the film with the whole car in the water stunt.
The car in the water stunt was good, but why are you having a fucking tickle fight driving 60 miles an hour, down the road and then start like making out? It's just like, is fucking terrible. Like
you and Kate don't do that?
Well, it's revealed that's not what happened, Brian.
I know. But at the time you're just like, oh Christ. It's like when you're watching like a clearly like a well-written film that has like some cohesiveness to the storyline and something kind of out of the ordinary like that happens, your ears kind of perk up. But with this, you just go, oh, this is a shit movie, so that's written like shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't lead you down a path. You're just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
They didn't have any other way to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the car in the water stunt, and then just like the underwater photography stuff is cool. Like, the whole, I think I like that whole sequence. But just something that Meg has already mentioned like twice, there really isn't like a lot of gore or horror elements happening. Like,
and
there's
Pinhead just strolls into the movie at some point. Let me
remind you that I didn't choose this movie then, so one of you chose a not-so-horror movie.
It's not your fault, Meg. In my ranking of Hellraiser's films, this one is not up there, and that's saying a lot for this series.
Yeah,
which even gives me more reason that it could be you that chose this. But I will even say, I will add that I kind of liked, like, and I think we all have collectively agreed that the last like 15-20 minutes was the best of the movie. Like, and I think the beginning, like, again, first 10 minutes, but I kind of like how they kind of wrapped things up and they made things a little bit more clear as far as like, okay, he in his mind space of like death, the eel scene, like you bring it back and they're like, oh, he had a fucking eel stuck in him. I mean, I kind of liked those ties, though I do still find that they were really corny, like, or even Allison being this fucking weirdo who talks to dead people, which I mean, maybe in some spaces I shouldn't make fun of her. But we're seeing all these characters kind of like play out in like real time of actually their pieces and parts to the whole puzzle.
If it was, I do like the eel thing was okay. It didn't make any sense earlier, but that was fine because it was, it was supposed to not make sense at that point. I did like at the end. I thought the corpse of Trevor was really looked good, and the eel coming out, stuff like that. I thought that looked good, but yeah, there was so much nonsensical stuff in the other parts of the movie, like whenever they walk in and the acupuncturist is laying there dead and he's standing there with an ice pick and the cops just walk in and then they just like take him back and to just do some more questioning, you know what I mean? They don't arrest him, they don't like, it's just like, something is all fucked up and he's in some sort of like parallel universe or something like that where like just a little stuff. I know this is dumb, but like police stations don't typically have morgues, I don't think, in the basement of them. Just stuff like that where you're like time jumping almost type of things where you're like, I get it, it's non-linear, and he's the audience is supposed to be just as kind of confused as Trevor is, but make it seem like the world is operating normally otherwise,
right.
Yeah.
Like, there was there was a lot of things, especially in that police station scenes, really, is where like there's like, you know, extrajudicial violence going on.
Yeah.
There's, you know, a lot of other, there's like sounds of torture happening. And like, I think that's interesting to kind of play down, but they put in like full music stings and like head swings and camera swivels into
like it was a plot point.
Yeah. What's happening over there? Oh no, what's happening over there? This can't be right.
It's also like, so am I right in saying Pinhead was just after Christy the whole time? He was never after Trevor, right?
Yeah, he's been wanting her for years. I think since obviously, that's kind of basically what they shared.
So what you're experiencing the whole way here is not necessarily Pinhead. It's not necessarily like the live events that led to ultimately Christy making a deal with Pinhead. It's Trevor reliving the kind of hell that has been created by Pinhead as a result of the deal he made.
Right. Yeah. It's already done. There's nothing like there's no escape to it. It's
you're just like reading a book in the movie kind of thing, if you will.
You're just experiencing hell.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks. I mean, it's like you're not learning anything and like everything was preset to a certain extent. I don't know. I mean, you don't know that at the moment, so the reveal is still the reveal, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's trying to be more clever than it was, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, also, you have to remember, like, this comes right off of 5, which is my film, but it's basically the same plot in a way that the protagonist is already in hell. So, but the problem with this one, well, I mean, problems, is ones Brian already mentioned, how things don't operate normally, so it's already weird all the way through, and so you already suspect that he's dead already. And what I brought up before about him not taking any action for himself. He just allows himself to be bounced from torture to torture is what it really is.
Yeah.
And you watch it.
Yeah. Can I say 2 parts of the movie that made me laugh out loud?
Yeah.
One was the quote, "Get out of my head." Like it just was so, I don't know why I laughed out loud. And then the other one was when the detectives who were playing good cop, bad cop the whole time turn out to be a literal good cop and bad cop, like Two-Face almost, or more like the mayor from A Nightmare Before Christmas kind of thing. And it's the good cop and the bad cop. My God, talk about ham-fisted metaphors there, but it was
or Liam Neeson from the Lego Movie.
Don't get that reference. I'm an adult. But yes, it was just, oh my God, I laughed out loud at that. I was like, I kind of liked that they went there and just were like, we're going to be fucking silly about this right now. You know, I kind of appreciated that because it got away from just the like humdrum, you know, back and forth of the rest of the movie. But I will say, and I'm not saying this to pile on, I'm saying it because I was watching this, it took me 6 hours to watch this movie. I just kept walking away from it. I was like, I need a break. I can't fucking do this right now. Like it was a slog and a half.
Yeah.
But so one of my kind of laugh out moments is there's just an ADR line that's very funny in that after Gwen, his boss, who he's been cheating with, is killed. He's bounced into the office and he's talking to his cubicle buddy, and then his cubicle buddy gives him the line to go to the acupuncturist.
Oh, yeah.
Right before that scene cuts, you just hear some random worker in the background go, "Anybody seen Gwen?"
Yeah, no, I caught that too. I definitely got that too.
Yeah, now
I was
you
like,
say
can
that,
we just give it away? It's fucking.
Anybody seen
bad.
Gwen? I hope she didn't get murdered.
Yeah. I sure hope she isn't dead somewhere.
Hope she didn't get Cinnabited.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, yeah. This movie just like, it has no subtlety. There isn't a subtle bone in this fucking movie's body.
Yeah. Can I say, so I kind of, we talked about the detectives who are investigating Kirsty's murder as far as Dean Winter's character is concerned. Can I say, though, I like the guy who's playing the detective, but this movie would be 30% better if that was Tony Todd instead.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it sounds like sometimes he's doing.
He sounds like he's going
Todd.
for it a little bit. Yeah.
Mm.
I agree with that. Yeah. Tony Todd would have definitely upped the ante a little bit, because in some of these movies, just like to see a familiar face is kind of like, oh, hey, I know that guy. It's like you're the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, you know, like, hey, look, just for a second, just to distract you from the nightmare that you're dealing with.
Meg, do you have any other ways you would like to defend your film?
I'm just sitting here crying a little bit to myself. No, I don't have much besides reiterating that this movie, out of any of them, pluses are that we have a Kirsty Cotton throwback. It's a great revenge film. You know, I'm here for it. I think those are it's really good. That's what's gonna put me on top tonight, guys. I'm gonna get myself amped up here. Okay, I'm gonna drive it home. Okay.
Yeah, that was it is the ultimate grasping for straws situation. It was really a it's a difficult assignment.
Gee, Brian, one of us is a real dickhead for giving her that movie.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, that's such a rude move. I wonder who did that.
I felt like you didn't, like, did you know how much of a stinker that was going to be?
No, never watched it before I gave it to you. Here's why I gave it to you. And this is spoiler. We know that I picked this movie for Meg. I had never seen it. I went through and read through some plot synopsis of the ones or synopses, I don't know, that I had not seen. And I remembered Steve saying when we were talking about some of the lesser known ones that Dean Winters was in it. And I was like, I like Dean Winters. So that's why I picked it. 100%.
I bet you, no, I think you took away from what he said, because he also shared with us how these were like, basically like, you know, upcycled fucking like scripts, and you're like, yeah, she's gonna fucking choke on this one.
I'm not gonna pick you a good one. What am I, some sort of fucking moron? What, like, why would I pick a good one for you?
Yeah, none of us got 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. I avoided that because I was like just kind of hoping that maybe someone would be nice.
I'm gonna assume, and listen, cat's out of the bag here, you picked Steve's. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Steve's might be fucking worse.
No.
It's close. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, watch me defend it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I know you have to defend it, but it's fucking awful too. So Meg, get off your goddamn high horse telling me that I was wrong for picking a bad movie, because you picked Steve a goddamn stinker too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, from the pile of horse shit, what do you really pull out?
Yeah, pick out a kernel of corn, I guess. I don't know. Hand it to somebody.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we're talking about how kind of not great these movies are, and now you understand why I was so adamant about not doing Revelations. If all these are this bad, can you imagine how bad Revelations
now I
is?
want to watch 9. I'm like, how is 9 that much worse than this one?
I feel like at some point maybe we should like turn this on the tables and actually try to convince each other which one was the worst, and that's the winner of this month.
Oh yeah, that would play to your advantage. But
I mean, we don't have to do it this month, but I feel like that would be a fun
in the future,
okay?
pick the worst one.
Yeah,
in the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
Because we tend to get turds in this situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Who can pick the worst movie for someone else?
Yeah. Maybe that's a theme episode, like Awful April.
There you go. I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
Or something.
I like those type of things.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry, Meg. I didn't do that to you.
I didn't think you did.
I did.
I would never. I
would never.
Honestly,
yes, you would. Shut up. I would never. I wouldn't do it.
What?
I mean, you basically gave him those 7 ripoffs, so hey, like, you're not much nicer. We're all really mean to one another.
I can say I wish that I was that devious, but I had never seen this movie before I gave it to you. And when I was watching it, in preparation for the show, it was the first time I watched it.
But you were probably really excited.
It took me 6 fucking hours to watch it.
No, you were probably so excited.
No,
you
want to know actually,
yeah,
Meg?
I did.
You want to know actually what I did?
What?
Is I was reading through our text threads, so a little inside baseball here. My wife Kate helped us to make it a blind kind of choice here. So she drew the names out of the hats. She sent to us who we were picking for. Then we sent her via text message the movie that we were picking for that person. And then she sent it to the individuals. So when I went back to check the text thread to see what movies we had to watch, and specifically which one I had to defend, the entire time I misread the who sent who what in the text conversation. So the entire time I was watching Hellseeker, I was complaining to Kate about how I had to defend this piece of shit. and then at the end, I look through and I'm like, wait, no, there's later than 2000. Oh, and then I realized what I did, and I was like, oh, thank you, Jeebus. I don't have to fucking defend this piece of shit.
I don't have to defend this movie that I gave to someone else.
Yes, I inflicted this on somebody. So, yeah.
Well, we're past it now.
Yeah, it's behind us.
I'm in the holiday spirit now, finally.
That was the one thing standing between you and holiday spirit.
Yes, getting past these movies.
Yeah, they got her lump of coal. So
tonight, after this Hellraiser shit show is over, I'm going to watch that Punisher movie that Steve suggested.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's great.
Punisher Warzone. That movie rules. Far better than Hellseeker.
I'm watching Punisher Warzone. I'm getting some eggnog. I'm turning on. I got the Christmas tree up. I'm going to put on some soft Christmas jazz in the background and watch Punisher Warzone.
Hell yeah.
All right. Who's up next?
It is now my turn.
It's your turn.
It is now my turn. And I will be defending Hellraiser Inferno from 2000. It is the number 5 of the Hellraiser series, or Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Lucky number 5 of Hellraiser.
I still am kind of a little bit confused why that's so funny how I say it.
Well, because it's Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. You said Hellraiser.
You go
so
up
my
in the middle.
inflection
You go up in the
is
middle.
different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm following here now. I'm going to keep doing it.
It's how we know you're not a true Yinzer, because true Yinzers lazy their words in, which is why it goes Hellraiser. Yeah. But you are, I guess more staccato with your New York accent, and you go Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And you raise up.
I think sometimes things come out as questions when they shouldn't. And maybe that's what was going on there too. I was like, Hellraiser? But not really,
The Yinzer accent would almost try to turn it into only 2 syllables.
Yeah.
It would be like, hey, Instinct gonna see a new Hellraiser movie.
Yeah. Hellraiser? Yeah, it would drop the H and
Yeah.
He's seen that Hellraiser night.
Hey, did you see Hellraiser or no? Or did you see it?
You heard about that new one coming out? The new Hellraiser? Cloth markers back and everything. And that.
All right, tell it.
All right.
No. I just want to see a Hellraiser. I don't know why that triggered me to think I want to see a Hellraiser based in an Amish community a little bit. But
Fine, open the box.
You know what? I would be all about that. How that seems like the next logical step.
But it would be an outsider who helps them, is the person who's basically going to be bound to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe they work with the Amish community, and then the Amish community is affected by it. This could be a whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they already went to space. And the next step after space has got to be Lancaster County.
Here's the setup. Somebody who's on Rumspringa.
Yes.
They come in contact with the lament configuration and bring it back to the farm.
Yeah.
Normally, an Amish, adolescent on Rumspringa goes and has. If you don't know what Rumspringa is, it's basically you get it's like spring break, and then you come back and then you have to be Amish again. So they went.
You get a choice,
that.
Brian. You get a choice.
I don't think there is a choice.
It's a hall pass.
Yeah, it's basically a hall pass because no one doesn't come back. You're getting in trouble. Your family starves if you don't come back or something. I don't know. But yeah, so
someone's got to make the donuts.
Yeah, when people leave, they just go and try weed. They don't stick hooks in their nipples and shit like that. So that would be a pretty intense Rumspringa, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
One of these days, an actual movie is going to come out of one of these episodes. One of these days.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We can all hope.
And then I've got my lawyer on speed dial.
That's right. Then maybe we all get WGA credit.
Yeah. P.S. I don't have a lawyer. I don't know why I acted like I did. It's not like I have a lawyer. All right, Steve, talk to us about Hellraiser Inferno.
Right. So Hellraiser Inferno from 2000, starring Doug Bradley, still as Pinhead, because he sticks with that series all the way through 8. Yeah, it's basically 7. It so desperately wants to be 7, and somebody wrote a script to 7 and turned it into Dimension Films.
Yeah,
and then they upturned it into a Hellraiser movie.
Yeah, and not 7 in the Hellraiser franchise. 7 as in Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. 7.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. The timeline fits perfectly because that came out in like 1997, I believe.
Yeah.
So I would guess every hack writer would be writing some sort of religious themed serial killer film,
and this one literally uses the 10 Commandments too. Like it's
no, that's yours.
Yeah, I was like, that's yours.
Oh,
yeah.
Mine does
That's
too.
yours.
Yeah, this one does the same. Mine does this. Mine
so
literally uses the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
So here's something I didn't quite remember as well when I gave Brian Judgement, and I hadn't watched Inferno and Judgement so close together. I did not realize they were basically the same film.
They're very fucking
so
close.
regurgitated. Yeah, I felt that way too.
Yeah, this one stars Craig Sheffer and Nicholas Totoro, and they play cops on the beat in Colorado, even though it very obviously looks like it was filmed as L.A.
Yeah, they're supposed to be in Denver or something, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be in Denver, but like a lot of the outside stuff, they rely on that heavy orange that a lot of people put on when they color time for LA. That smoky, hazy orange feeling, that heavy, oppressive sun. Yeah. I honestly didn't remember it was Denver until he says he's part of the Denver PD, like later on in the film. But, Craig Sheffer is investigating. The film starts with him investigating a murder of a high school friend. And it's very obvious that his friend has been torn apart by chains and hooks. And on the crime scene, he finds both the lament configuration, the box, and a candle with a child's finger in it. Yeah.
Can we also pause to express that the main detective, which is Detective Thorne, right?
Yeah.
He has the most punchable fucking face in the history of faces.
He reminds me of someone else consistently throughout he reminds me of another actor that I can't put my finger on.
He reminds me of 3 actors. His face is such a weird amalgam of Play-Doh.
Yeah. It's a very weird, strange face. I don't know how else to put it.
He looks, and I can tell you who he looks like, though. Actually, it might even be 4. He looks like Ray Liotta.
I can see that a little bit.
Michael Shannon, a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Michael Shannon, a little bit of Bill Paxton, depending on when you look at him.
Yeah.
And then even Dean Winters to a point, because they both have the same kind of scruffy, messy hair.
You know what the other person that it reminded me of a little bit too is Ike Barinholtz.
Okay, yeah.
That's who I saw a little bit. But yeah, totally like... He is a strange. I could see the Ray Liotta now, which I didn't initially, but yeah, he for some reason he reminded me a little bit of Ike Barinholtz too, from like he was on like the Mindy Project and stuff like that.
Yeah. If you go on Craig Sheffer's IMDb page though, he looks like he's trying to do Michael Shannon as hard as he possibly can.
Yeah. You're dead on with. I would say if there's one that he looks the most like, or trying to look the most like, it is a Michael Shannon type character. Like he's trying to make his jawline, like he's trying to inflict an underbite on himself almost. Right. Kind of.
Yeah, he very much. It's all there, but he is playing Detective Thorne, and he's a bit of a shitbird. He basically, from the minute after they leave that crime scene, he's seen lifting cocaine, he's tampering evidence, like just Yeah.
He's stealing money, then crossing out the amount of money and just putting a different amount, which is like the perfect crime. Good job, bud.
Got it.
Like it said $400 in the wallet. He takes 300 out and crosses it out and writes 100. It's like, are there no checks and balances in this fucking police station?
Because the 1 and 4 are so close on on keyboards. So
I guess.
I mean, unless you're using the numpad.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, that is bold. That's bold.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, he immediately establishes himself as a shipbird, goes back home, and you see his wife and daughter for one scene. Then he leaves them to go bang a hooker because that's what he's into, and that's when he opens the box.
Mm-hmm.
And the most despicable thing is like how he rationalizes the whole thing to himself.
Yeah.
He pretty much goes on this like diatribe about like how he has to like go buy hookers and blow because it makes him a good husband and father. Basically.
Right. He wouldn't stick around if he couldn't have his vices.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you bring it up, Ryan, but yeah, it's all presented in 1940s noir detective voiceover.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Classic stuff that I feel like makes this movie a shit movie. It just makes it so awkward. You're like trying to be a cop movie.
Yeah. Look, overall, he is seemingly a competent detective. He's generally respected within the force and by his partner. But yeah, he after opening the box, the hooker he's with is killed, and then he finds another child's finger, and then that's when he's basically turned on to the hunt for the engineer. Mm-hmm. And the engineer is a serial killer, apparently, who has weaved his way into his life. And it also apparently the box belongs to the engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get basically a Seven style investigation of like gory murders, which something you didn't really see in Hellseeker.
Right.
Like there's actually decent effects as far as like the kills and the gore and the blood in this film.
I would say I feel like it's just on par. I feel like that's what I expect out of a Hellraiser. Along the way.
There were more Cenobites for sure. More Cenobite. Not just Pinhead being a cock block like he was in the first movie, where it's just like, get yourself into like some sexy time, and then Pinhead comes in and fucks everything up, and then somebody ends up dead.
Were you trying to fuck?
Was you horny, bro? This one though, I do like that. Is this the first appearance of those like twin female-ish Cenobites with like the high ponytail almost, that kind of remind me of like a fucked up version of Janice from the Electric Mayhem on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
If they weren't in 4, I don't remember 4 well enough. So
no, I don't think they were. I don't remember them.
Yeah, then this was their kind of first appearance, which I like. You just brought it up, but like that was a really great effect where like they came on to him in the hallway, and then like they put their hand under his skin,
like under really his cool. Like on his pec. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
That was pretty cool. It was both towed the lines of really gross and sexy at the same time, and it's like ew.
Make me feel all yucky.
Yeah.
I really, right now, if it doesn't exist, and it probably has to exist, I would love to see a website that breaks down with pictures of every Cenobite in every movie, just so we could watch and see like the crossover. I think.
Oh, there's definitely some like Hellraiser wiki out there that has.
There for sure is. I was just on it today.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is for
that's what I found.
Franchise.
That's what I found just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a Hellraiser wiki.
I want to go check out the Hellraiser wiki and discuss the proprietor of Stigmata, the tattoo / piercing parlor. Is the biggest douchebag in the history. He's like, he literally has like the award for most tribal tattoos on any fucking human being in the world.
Do you feel like that's like the cliche of like what a tattoo artist looks like?
Yes.
Yeah, in 2000.
Yeah, in 2000, I think that was it. Like, never wears a shirt, covered in like weird tribal tattoos, has like a tribal halo around like a bald head. Like, he was just,
he had obvious tattoos that he could never have any job but being a tattoo artist in Brooklyn of 1995.
Did you notice too that the guy who came and opened like the door for them when they entered the shop also wasn't wearing a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking strictly no shirts allowed. It's Stigmata.
Yeah. No shirts and Stigmata. No.
I want a spinoff just about, it's like two guys, a girl, and a pizza place, but it's fucking just about Stigmata, the shop.
Plus, think
I would probably definitely binge that.
Remember, this is Denver, so like these dudes are probably huge in the goth scene. Like there's
Leon,
like,
by the way, that's his name. I just remember what his name was. Leon.
Leon, the tattoo artist. Yeah, like the how small is the goth scene in Denver to begin with, and then these two are probably huge within it.
Yeah, probably.
They're the only ones with leather and chains and whips.
I don't know though, because they did do the way that all of the like BDSM like toys on the wall were hung. It was like it was just an office 5 minutes ago, and they just like put a nail up and hung them spread out to cover up the wall and make it look like it was not a lived in space by any stretch of the imagination. But and then also when the tattoo starts moving, at that one point, it made it seem like they drew that, you know what I mean? And it was a fake tattoo on that guy, you know what I mean?
So you're saying Leon didn't really have the balls to go through with a full back tat of two Cenobite ladies?
No, I don't think so.
Half kissing and embracing.
But 1,000% chance there's more than one person out there that has that tattoo.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
There are some diehard fucking fans of this franchise
who
have already turned it off because they're mad because we're shitting all over
mad as hell. That's the thing. I like the actual franchise, but
you're the only one. No, that's not true. I like the first 4 movies, and then I didn't think 10 was terrible, but that's.
I mean, I think I'm walking away. Like I've watched now Hellraiser, I think more in the last even just like 6 months than I ever have in my entire life.
Oh, 100%.
I wanted when I was doing some catch up, and I was like, I want to watch start watching this like whole franchise. It like I don't hate it. Like I honestly kind of like Pinhead as like a main figurehead for the whole fucking franchise.
I just wish he did more. That's the problem. I understand like the prosthetics and the outfit and everything. Like he's a fucking demon. You know what I mean? Like I get it. He's just gonna do. But it just feels like they never give him enough to do. You know what I mean?
I don't see. That's the thing. It's always been a weird character because like the first movie, he was just the punishment at the end.
Yeah.
The second movie, he had a little bit more to do because they pit him against the other like Cenobites and like basically the Leviathan god of the Hell world. And then 3 obviously goes off the fucking rails and Pinhead's all over the place. But yeah, he
spits out bullets. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but yeah, his involvement is always just kind of like all over the place and it just depends on how much they're willing to spend to have him be there.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I could see and understand that, but you do see this evolution. I think in ways like there's always just like the usual of what he's always going to do, but I still think there's like even though I still don't think he's doing a lot, but like and I can agree with that, but I still think you see mild changes throughout it, or even just like how he uses his pins and bullshit like that.
Yeah, the mythos deepens a little bit at times, but like I feel like by this point in the franchise, or not really by this point, but like certainly by, probably Meg's movie, like there's not a whole lot to add. I mean, I was actually surprised. We'll get to 10, but there's a little bit more that's added to it there. Right. But like, that's not Doug Bradley anymore, right? So
no.
All right. Us redeeming ourselves and talking shit is done. Let's move on. Just joking.
But okay. So back to Inferno. He's investigating the murders, and basically it comes down to he's chasing this character called the Engineer. The Engineer is the murderer, and he finds himself like breaking more laws, disappointing more people, essentially sinning more. And every time you kind of see it, like every time he does that, another murder happens, and then he finds another finger. The whole movie culminates at the end where he comes face to face with the whole time he's chasing this child that is supposedly still alive, and he's looking to save this child, and by doing that he's also just breaking a lot of laws and being a shitbird. He comes and finds the child, and the child is actually just his own innocence that has been taken apart by all these things that he's done in the past. So he's
just hella corny.
Yeah. It's corny. Yeah. It's corny, but you know what? It was actually at least constructed like a film that moves in a proper direction.
I see you.
But
I see you.
But honestly, yes, I would agree with that statement, Steve. But I absolutely fucking hated the lead actor in this movie. Like
he's
Dean
not
Winters,
over him. He is not over this.
Dean Winters was like, they didn't give him anything to do. He was like just fucking incredibly boring performance, but I still prefer it to this fucking guy. Something about him, I couldn't stand him. I just wanted bad things to happen to him immediately.
But almost like what you're talking about with like him, like throughout the movie, like, every time he does something bad is like, I feel like even if we're looking for any sort of message about like what they're trying to do with this script, and not that I'm trying to like justify how bad it was, is like, I don't think it was like, he just like happens to be doing something bad. I think this is just like who he is ultimately, and like the stress of the situation is now making him, it's like almost going into overdrive of like where when he's in a calm state, he's gonna go, bang a hooker, he's gonna ignore his family, and these are just normal day-to-day things. But in those like high stress situation, he's like, I'm gonna go off the rails now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like normal Detective Thorne threatens to frame his partner and just steals money and all this stuff.
Right.
And then but then when the stress is heightened, he just kind of goes berserker a little bit.
Well, I think at the very end, he basically tries to solve every problem with a shotgun. But I think what you're seeing is because again, the film ends with the revelation that he has already been in hell the entire time and is being tortured by Pinhead. So what you're actually seeing throughout the film is the murders he's investigating are actually just scenes of his life, of things he's already done. Because it starts again with that person that he knew in high school, and he even tells a story about him from high school where he says, we used to torture this kid and we made his life a living hell. So that's the first instance in his life where he was a really shitty person that he should have atoned for. And then everything else you see after that is, he let that ice cream truck driving pedophile, he killed him, but also he let him be on his own.
Right.
He turned his back on his partner. He turned his back on his family. He let his mother and father rot in just hospice care. So all of those things are things that he should be atoning for, and it's not really the stress is making him do that. He already did all those things.
That's true. That's true.
Right. Well,
this all already happened. It's like the previous movie in the sense that we're just reading a book inside of a movie almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody's reading us a book inside of a movie.
Right. Somebody's telling us a tale that already happened.
Yeah, I think in my mind when I was saying that, I was more so thinking of like we're reliving what happened because that's what keeps happening to him. So like justifying like what's going on throughout that, because he does seem to be like heightenedly, like continuously getting stressed out throughout and whatnot.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The bar that and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the bar that they go to try to find the engineer, the cowboy bar.
Yeah,
I love that spot.
Is that the Roadhouse from Porky's?
Sure.
I mean, like literally, I think it might fucking be. It looked just like it. That's
a good question. I don't know if it actually is.
Yeah, it looks so much like it. And then they're all cowboys inside, full on cowboys, not like rednecks wearing cowboy hats.
Yeah. So we talked about how like Hellseeker has like this weirdness about it that is just always omnipresent, and it never feels like things are moving at a correct pace because it's just jump cuts and everything. But then you have this wonderful little scene where he goes to
it's the best scene in the movie by far.
Yeah, it's an entire cowboy bar. It's very almost David Lynchian.
I wrote in my notes, is this like the fucking cabin, in a Lynch movie, whatever the fucking, what's it called? The Twin Peaks, the something cabin.
Yeah, Twin Peaks, yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed, yes, this bar absolutely felt like it was from Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it becomes very David Lynchian, and you have like this entire cosplay cowboy bar where they're playing poker, and the proprietor has fucking 6 shooters on him.
And he is also the bartender in the Halo from Fight Club.
Yep.
As well. He's a great
absolutely.
character actor.
Yeah, that dude pops up in a lot of places, but yeah, he's great. And then you even see like the image of the engineer, which is so far been portrayed basically as a Cenobite with like a blank face, but in is like Max Payne cosplay.
Kinda, yeah.
But you see him
sick
run out
leather jacket, wide ass tie.
Yeah.
Fake leather jacket, faux
Fake,
leather,
fake.
90s faux leather,
It's
like
so
the shiny
thin.
vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah. But you see him run out the bar, and at the same time, he's
No, hold
wearing
on.
a
He does
cowboy
not
hat.
run out. He does not run out. He stands up and then roller skates to the back corner of the bar.
Very much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
He
Very much slides.
glides like the fucking, what are those guys with the big weird smiles in Buffy? You know, those two, the two like twin kind of guys. He walks like that, how they just float.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he
yeah.
pops up in the corner, is like, ha, and just fucking roller skates to
I
the
wish
back
he
corner.
said haha. That would have been fucking great.
I laughed out loud when he just hovered. He was like, ha, see ya, fuck off.
But he does have a cowboy hat on, so he's
He does
willing
have
to
a
play the
cowboy
part.
hat. He does have a cowboy hat. He was one of the
trying to
people playing
blend
the
in, for
card.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our acting detective is I say acting because he has a lot of scenes that are very much acting.
Oh yeah, he's projecting to the back of the auditorium.
But yeah, he gives chase into the woods and loses the engineer, only to be attacked by 2 Asian cowboys who kung fu the shit out of him.
Ninja Cowboys. They're putties, I think, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
But they full on are Ninja Cowboys.
Yeah, and
Like,
they
that's the
full
only way
on
to put
kick the shit out of him.
Doing fucking roundhouses and stuff. I was like, have you guys ever played the game? It's just paper, rock, scissors, but instead of paper, rock, scissors, it's Bear Ninja Cowboy.
Okay.
Did you ever
I've
play
never
that?
heard of this.
So instead of paper, flat hand, rock, scissors, it's bear, ninja, cowboys, put them up partner. So you turn and you do that, and then it's like bear beats ninja because he mauls him, right? Obviously, ninja beats cowboy because he can block the bullets with his sword. It's like a lightsaber.
Oh my god!
And then, of course, cowboy beats bear because he shoots him. But I was like, if a bear shows up right now and this is full on bear ninja cowboy, I'm gonna fucking lose it. But
Brian,
no such luck.
You just brought up a sore spot, and because I believe they actually do that shit in the new live action Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah.
Which I am gonna watch it.
I know, I kind of want
because
to
I
watch
love
it too.
the anime, but.
Okay, well.
Is it not good?
Yep.
Oh, god damn it. I'm just going to watch Punisher Warzone twice instead.
Hells yes. What happens after the ninjas kick the shit out
the
of them?
fucking CGI family crumbles.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, something stupid happens.
Some fucking dumb happens.
Some dumb shit happens. He does go back to his home, or no, he goes to the school to investigate, and he sees his partner murdered. After seeing his partner murdered, he goes back to his own home because that's where he's being led around by the engineer, and it's he comes across his wife and child that have been strapped to this obelisk in a spinning snowy room. And they freeze to death and die and then fall apart very much like remember Resident Evil?
Yeah.
When the guy's chopped up by the lasers.
Yeah. And he just
same
falls
effect.
into a bunch of slice or a bunch of cubes or whatever.
Yeah, same effect.
Yeah. Except for like glass, because they're like shattered because they're supposed to be like frozen solid.
Right. The one character we haven't mentioned a lot, but he doesn't come up a lot either, is like there's a priest / kind of psychologist that he's asked to see, and it's played by
who's clearly the engineer. Like it's very clear from the beginning he's the engineer.
Clearly the
I
engineer.
just like saw him and I
This
was just
person-
like, this is Dexter's dad. He is definitely like hiding something.
Well, because he's also like, I know everything about all the cops. And then later he's like, whoever the killer is knows everything about all the cops. It's so bad. Even like Kate, who was not even really watching, she was like, is he the killer? I'm like, yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know how, in what way, but he clearly is.
Yeah, but yeah, as Meg mentioned, it's played by James Remar, Dexter's dad. Or as other people will recognize him as Raiden from Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
That's what I know him from. Because I have bad taste.
But you know what? There is a little bit of great production design in that the first time you see him, he's very much, like a priest, prim and proper. And then this time when you see him in the home and he comes out, he has a lapel pin of the crucifix. But it's turned upside down.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's
so
the
metal.
Most generous use of the word "great" ever.
I already called this film Lynchian, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. You have expressed that you have the nerve to say things like that.
I have, yeah. I mean, that's long running on this show that I have the gall to compare
things to absolute pieces of shit. The Ward to like Shawshank Redemption or something.
Yeah. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's right. Did Pinhead show up yet?
Well, no, this is where Pinhead shows up. Because
this is where he shows up.
Yeah, this is. I mean, well,
it's like 15 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah, he showed up in bits and pieces here and there throughout the film, but this is where he reveals himself to the priest reveals himself to be actually Pinhead,
right? Who's
been guiding him through this the entire time.
Yes.
If he would have just been like, moo ha ha ha, and then changed, it probably would have been even better.
Yeah. Do like a classic bad guy laugh.
Yeah.
He shows up with 15 minutes left, and he's basically an NPC that gives Thorn like a hint because he's stuck.
Right. I don't know why I'm agreeing, but yes.
He shows up and he's like, I don't understand. He's like, fine. I'm Pinhead. Yes, here's what's happening. Go to that door. Use the key that's in your inventory, you fucking jerk.
You've been dead the entire time. Let's get on with it.
Yeah. You are clearly too stupid to figure this out.
I will say, though, the actual speech he gives is a lot better than that. And it's for the little amount of time Pinhead is in the film, it's actually very good. So I like the little speeches he gives.
Yeah, I mean, he's always good as Pinhead. You can't take your eyes off him when he's on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's even far more interesting than when he's in Hellseeker. Unfortunately. He doesn't have like good speeches in Hellseeker.
But at least he's in it.
He's in it.
You know what I mean? Like this movie, he's barely in it. Yeah. He really doesn't show up until 15 minutes left.
Right. Which, I mean, is kind of the same way he was in Hellraiser 1.
Yeah, but you have Frank the whole time.
Yeah.
There's no Frank in this movie.
There's no Frank in this movie.
No.
The other thing is it still plays more to the older Hellraiser of he's a punishment device. Like he's not a full-on character like he was developed in 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of depends on how much you love that and not. And obviously this is also a problem because of the script not being a Hellraiser script from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, Pinhead plays a kind of a different role in this even. You know what I mean? Like here's I'll just read what I wrote. I said, now this is me like at this point in the movie I'm just venting in my notes and I'm like, now Pinhead's some sort of teacher of divine morals. He's Satan now. No, it was all a dream. Better yet, it's Groundhog's Day. This movie's fucking trash. That was word for word what I read in my note.
Can you put that in the actual description of this show?
Yeah, that was word for word what I read in my last note here.
I mean,
like
it's not total trash, but it's trash.
I feel like with what you said, like I can only echo that because I feel like the later the movies go on, and maybe it's just with the ones at least that we watched, or that I've seen up to that point, it's just like it seems like progressively he is becoming more and more of that character so blatantly like, hey, I'm just here to tell you how terrible of a human you are, and then I'm going to tear you apart and kill you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I always found like I felt like it became more blatant, and in the earlier movies it was there, but I don't think it was like as blatant. So it made him more terrifying, I think, in the earlier movies.
Yeah, because he was like the masochist in the first movies, where he was like, I'm here to like feed on your pain.
Right.
Some of these movies, like this one included, it's more like, and even in 10 in my movie, it's more like I'm here to like pass some sort. I mean, my movie's literally called Judgement. Yeah. He's like, exactly. He's like, he works in the bureaucracy of hell, and he's just here to like fucking file the paperwork and shit. So
you filed the paperwork. I can't.
But I also think it got worse in yours, Brian, and I know we'll get to it.
Oh, we will.
It's a waste of perfectly good printer ink. But you do get the hook stretching the face. I mean, you get the classic,
I almost want to do that for Halloween next year and figure out how to do that, like stretch my face and just have hooks in it. I think that would be a great costume.
Yeah, you got to do. I've seen people do the whatever her name. I don't remember her name is, but the one that has her like throat opened up. She's in the first couple movies. I've seen people do that one.
That's pretty good.
That cosplay, but yeah, takes some level of expertise. Obviously.
Yeah, that takes a lot of makeup knowledge.
Yeah,
we'll just take Tom Savini's special effects class, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, we'll be able to pull that off.
Perfect.
This one is very clear it's not a Hellraiser movie. Like, it's a different genre. Like, this is supposed to be like a crime thriller whodunit kind of movie that they just kind of inserted,
Yeah, it was supposed to be 7. There's another film I'm thinking of that is very similar to this. I just want to see if I can look it up real quick. And maybe you remember it, but it was with Christopher Lambert.
Oh, Highlander.
No.
I'm just kidding. That's the only Christopher Lambert movie I can think of.
Right. Or regular
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the original one.
I think it's
Highlander
called like Revelations.
3. Is it really called Revelations? That would be so funny.
I think it's something like that. It is terrible.
Wait, is it called Night Moves? But Knight is spelled with a K, like a knight in shining armor, because that is literally a fucking 1992 movie. And if Bob Seger doesn't show up as a cameo, I'm going to be so furious.
He's just in the back. It's called Resurrection, is what it's called. It's called Resurrection, and it's a find body pieces, investigate a murder, and it has like religious undertones and whatnot.
What if in Night Moves, like the cop is questioning Bob Seger and they were like, describe the perp, and he was like, a little too tall, could have used a few pounds.
Oh God.
It just started doing the whole lyrics. Oh, guys.
Brian has to write his own movie.
I'm tickling myself over here, guys.
Yeah. Overall, though, you know what? Inferno, for being the first of the direct-to-video and the first of From the Desk of Dimensions in turn.
Yeah.
I think it is way better than the ones that would follow. Better than Hellseeker, better than 7. You know what? Actually, not better than Deader. I actually like Deader.
I haven't seen Deader yet.
Yeah.
The script is better than 6, but the performances are worse, I think.
Not
all the performances.
No, you hate the main actor.
He's so much of the movie.
I know, he's so much of the movie, but I'm just saying.
He's literally on screen almost every minute of the film.
I'm just saying, like, James Remar is fine. Like, he's fine. He's a good actor. Nicholas Totoro is a good actor.
Nah, he's not good in this.
Well, he's fine.
Flat as fell.
There is one scene where like it's very expositionary, and he's just like, you know me, I'm a straight-laced cop. I do things by the book. I have a wife and family.
It's so bad too, because like he is so cool with the idea that his partner's trying to frame him for murder. He's just like, not cool, bro. Like, it's just like it's bad, but that's not his fault. I don't think it's the script. But anyway,
you've got Halo Bartender, you've got Asian ninjas, you've got
Halo
Doug
Bartender is the best part. I mean, that scene. I've already said that scene's the best part.
Are these your selling points right now, Steve? Is this like where we're going right now? Okay, cool.
Yes. Cowboy ninjas, Halo Bartender.
You had your chance to make selling points, Meg, and you said Kirsty Cotton's back.
I still think if those are our selling points, I'm still on top right now. But the only thing I'll give this movie is like, because if we're like really comparing at this point, is that like mine was like a regurgitated version of yours, but yours was like better executed in it. Like if it was, you know what I mean? But mine still had Kersey Cotton, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This only took me 2 sittings to watch.
There you go.
Whereas the other one took me like 5 sittings to watch. So, you know.
Also, mine has a lot more and better practical effects than Hellseeker.
It feels more like a horror movie. I mean, not a horror movie. It feels, It feels like a cop thriller horror-ish movie. 7. It feels like fucking 7.
It feels like 7. Yeah. It's in this.
I legit still think one of my selling points here is that I think one notch needs to get taken off of Brian's list for giving me a not so horror movie. Given his adamant anti-Beetlejuice being a haunted or a horror movie.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this out there as more selling points in my favor here.
I haven't even done my movie yet, you rat bastard. I haven't even done it yet. Call off the dogs.
I'm still trying to throw you off, bro.
Meg, you have 0.0% chance of winning.
Right. It's definitely between my movie and my movie, which is worse, which is Brian's movie.
It's not worse. It's way better. All right, let's jump into it. Hellraiser Judgment. Guys, 2018. This is the newest of the Hellraiser franchise. This movie, and I don't even really care to get into it because, again, it's not great by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not going to pull a Steve and say, this is fucking The Shining. But it is directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe.
Okay.
I don't know anything about him. I looked. I was like, what else did he direct? Virtually nothing. He is known for being a makeup. He's a makeup guy. He's a makeup guy. He's a hair guy. He's a wardrobe guy. He's known for doing, some pretty good effects, specifically in like Blade, and he is known for doing some pretty epic kills. But he's not a director, and that much is fairly clear.
Apparent.
Yeah, when you go to known for on IMDb, it's makeup department, and makeup department. Those are what he's known for. For Feast, Blade, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Apollo 18. Those are the first things that come up. None of those would be director gigs. And currently is filming a movie called Dark Harvest, which comes out next year. And he is a makeup artist and practical effects. That's pretty much all he does now. Makeup designer, special effects. Yeah, I do not think he's done much else in the way of directing. Although this was only a few years ago, right? So, so he might have a hell of a career in front of him.
Right.
But so in any case, that's kind of what we're starting with. Here's a selling point for this movie right off the bat. We've got Cenobites in the first minute. Not the last 15 minutes of the movie. We've got Cenobites in the very first minute of the movie. It's Pinhead talking to this kind of like professorial Cenobite who I was referring to as the Christoph Waltz of Cenobites the whole time. And he's talking about how the world is kind of ripe for evil shit. And then this random guy gets a note to go to this house. This is actually kind of a cool scene. He's tied up in this house. He's obviously seen some shit. He's like kind of like dirty, and seems like he's been like kind of living. Maybe I don't know if he's been living outdoors, but he definitely has been through some shit. He sees this note that basically says like, "Hey, we understand what you're going through. Come to this house." Signed, a sympathetic friend. He shows up and he's immediately tied up and introduced to Christoph Waltz of Cenobites, who ties him to this wheelchair. And the design I thought was cool for the Cenobite because he had these big slashes all over his face, and then these big kind of like Coke bottle, almost like welding glasses. And he is known as the Auditor. And he has this random guy hooked up to this like blood pump that's extracting blood from the guy, and then putting it into the inkwell in the typewriter, and he's typing his story with the guy's blood, which I thought was pretty cool. And he basically gets him to admit all this like terrible shit that he did. He obviously was some sort of like really deranged fucking guy, like child predator or something like that. And he tells the assessor all this stuff, he tells the Christoph Waltz Cenobite, the auditor, all this stuff, and he basically gets him, to admit all these things he did, and then he says, hey, we're going to give this to the assessor. And then ultimately it's going to the jury, and you don't know what he's talking about, right? But it's called Judgment, so you understand he's kind of like going through this kind of like Cenobite bureaucracy of sorts. And then this creepy little like sausage finger guy comes out and puts children's tears, which he proudly explains is a little bottle of children's tears, puts it all over the paper that he printed with the guy's ink or typed on with the guy's blood ink, and then eats it, barfs it up into this little sink, which goes down a tube to these topless women with their faces ripped off who feel around in the vomit and then decide that he's guilty. And it's fucking wild. It's like the first few minutes of this movie are wild. So it's this whole, like I said, this whole kind of process. Now they talk about, hey, you're guilty. And he's like, well, I thought you were going to help me. And he's like, we are helping you. Like, this is your reward. This is what you deserve. You're going to go get washed and then go see the surgeon and the butcher, which being washed is just more very spooky naked women licking you all over and or potentially eating parts of you. I'm not sure. And then this big guy comes out. So he's like he's almost like this big
it's like Master Blaster.
He's on a slab, and this like cherub face, leather face kind of guy, like Master Blaster kind of looking dude, comes in, and then a gimp jumps out from underneath his like coat, like it's the fucking kids that are under the coat of the Ghost of Christmas Past, and just fucking slices his ass all up. And after that happens, I was watching this on Prime, and they give you the option. It was like $2.99, or you can watch it free with ads. Yeah. I watched it free with ads, and it went hard cut from that scene to a Christmas commercial. Like hard cut. I was like, what the fuck?
Hey,
it was like so
we did say 'tis the
jarring.
season. We did say 'tis the season, right?
Oh my gosh. It was pretty intense. So, cuts him up, slices his face off, the blood kind of sprays out of the tube all over the jury women's boobies. I don't know. Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's very
ceremonial.
You get ceremonial is a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And then he also discards the skin.
Yeah.
To the jury. I don't know why they get the skin.
Yeah. The skin's the best part. It always is. You fight over the skin.
It's crispy.
And guys,
chicharrones.
Can we call them like Ceneronis or something? Can we need to be like Cenobites and Chicharronis or Chicharrones?
This is 12 minutes in, guys. This is a pre-credit sequence.
Brian, I'm already upset with all of this. Like legit. Like,
oh, it's wild. So you get this idea. So I'll I wanted to express that part in detail because it was just a fucking wild series of scenes. But now you start to get into the timeline, very similar to what Steve talked about. Like this feels very Seven ripoff. For sure. There's this drunk woman that shows up to her apartment, and she's murdered in her apartment. And then you're introduced to these two brothers who are detectives, which I was referring to Tough Brother, Tuff, and Fancy Brother. So it's Tough Brother and Fancy Brother. That's what I've been talking to him the whole time in my notes. I introduced them as. And then they have this other detective who is separate, who doesn't know them, who doesn't work with them, who's been kind of injected into this. Her name's Christine, and they're all in this case together. So, what you find out is that the murderer sewed. This woman was like obsessed with her dog and talked about how she worshipped her dog, and the murderer sewed the dog into her abdomen.
I legit
because
felt so much in that scene. I just cuddled Bruce a little bit closer.
Did you cuddle him closer or not as close?
No, I cuddled close. I was like, it's okay, buddy. I won't let anyone put you inside.
You didn't put him in you didn't put him in like the your hoodie pocket in the front.
I don't want a hoodie like that yet.
But it's they're going for the over the top, like disturbing violence type of thing. But the effects are pretty good, I thought. Like it's I don't know, it was an effective scene. You kind of knew something was going to happen, like more disturbing than actually was, because even Christine or whatever her name is was like, do you think this is the same guy? Because he likes to shock and awe. Basically, this murderer, this serial killer, they were already on the case, right? He'd already performed some of these like horrific, staged murders. It's you kind of get this idea that Tough Brother is going through some marital strife. He forgets his wife's birthday. And the murdered, you come to realize they refer to him as the preceptor, which is kind of like, I guess, an acronym for like a teacher. And he's doing a bunch of these Seven style murders, sending letters to the cops. I think they mentioned at this point he's killed like 14 people. So the next murder, they go right to the next murder scene. It's a bunch of hands and jars of blood arranged on this playground, and like thieves is spelled out on the fence, and like missing posters. And apparently they were a bunch of like, there's some other like biblical shit there. Apparently it was like a bunch of like teenage girls who had like shoplifted, basically. Right. So, and he cut off all their hands and stuff.
So I guess so. Like, if that's okay, that's the commandment, thou shalt not steal.
Right.
But that's not what comes up. They talk about eye for an eye, which is not a commandment.
No, they don't. They talk about how it's stealing, because it says thieves on there. Right. But when they open up the hands, there's an eye and a tooth in there, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's definitely mixed biblical metaphors happening here, for sure. And then you flash to Pinhead. He's just kind of like feeling very chill in what was happening. Like you're in like Pinhead's like kind of like man cave, if you will. He's just like sitting on his fucking throne, like chilling and just like taking it all in, kind of thing.
He's just staring at a blank wall too. He's not even looking.
I mean, that's what he does. I imagine if Pinhead had a TV, he would just be watching like just snow, you know what I mean? Just like distorted screen. So that's pretty much the equivalent of what he's doing.
Not to, get too, divergent of the lore, but like there is a comic series of Hellraiser, just Hellraiser anthology. And there's, little comics, and in that Pinhead sits on a throne overlooking hell from a giant black tower. Seeing him sit in a dark room in a house.
No, he's in the green room. Like he's about to go do an interview, and he's just sitting there in the green room. Yeah.
Seeing him just sit in a dark room in a house staring at a wall, just like, yes, I'm having a good day.
But I feel like if like with what you're even bringing up, Steve, like I feel like that even brings more of like a background into this, which I feel like they're just stretching, because I feel like they do in this movie. I don't want to steer too far away from it, but I feel like they do bring in a lot of new things.
Yeah, there's new stuff, I think, happening. Yeah, they're trying to portray, like I said, this almost like bureaucracy of hell, if you will. But I took it as Pinhead is into transcendental meditation, and that's what he was doing. He's. I mean, it comes full circle. The David Lynch Foundation is involved
now. Pinhead is a monk.
He is he's a member of the David Lynch Foundation. He's into TM, and that's where he's at. We do get a surprise cameo, albeit a very quick one, from the great Heather Langenkamp, she's a landlord of like one of the murder victims or people that ultimately lead them to the next scene. But everyone would know her, of course, from the Friday the 13th, or not Friday the 13th, I'm sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So they find this address on this like pervert's computer that takes them to the initial house that the main guy went to, who was audited or whatever at the beginning. Again, Christoph Waltz Cenobite has tough brother cop. tough bro tied up, and explains the lament configuration to him, starts to interview him, tells him about how, the Tough Bro tells him about how he killed all these people in war and all this stuff. First of all, the Christoph Waltz Cenobite quotes Christmas Carol at this point. So I submit that this is, in fact, a Christmas movie.
So this is the second time they've brought up Charles Dickens, though.
Yeah.
And this is something with this character that is so despicable and stupid.
Well, it's weird because Tough Bro brings it up the first time.
Right.
Because it's part of like his which you ultimately come, spoiler alert here, obviously, you come to learn that the killer, not the arbiter, what the hell is this? The preceptor. I knew it was something that sounds like it's from StarCraft. He's the guy, right? Yeah. Tough bro is him. So it was part of his lore. So you could surmise that Christoph Waltz Cenobite knows that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he would know that. But I'm just saying, I think it's super stupid of the brother to think like that. A Tale of Two Cities is the most popular book. That's because he says it once. He says Tale of Two Cities is the most popular fiction book. That's not true. It's like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And then he says it again that it's the most popular book ever. And his whole thing is he's supposed to be a Bible-themed killer. The Bible is even bigger than Harry Stupid Potter.
That's true. Yeah. Listen, I don't want to say you're focused on the wrong things, but I do think that you are picking apart areas where you got bigger fish to fry.
I'm just saying, he's a stupid killer. I don't.
It is. He sucks. Yeah, he sucks.
He's a stupid person. He should
know.
Well,
and ultimately, he does get he gets his comeuppance for being fucking stupid and arrogant at the end, which I kind of did like. But anyway, then the barf guy shows up, the guy who the assessor or whatever his fucking name is, and he can't deal. The jury can't deal. This guy, tough bro, is so bad that the Cenobites can't deal with him. Demons are turned off by his badassness and his meanness. He is the fucking Grinch of fucking Cenobites. I don't know. I was like, okay, I get it. He's like a bad guy. He's like killed a bunch of people and blah blah blah. But literally, demons are like barfing.
Right.
Like that's a little much, but. So then this British blonde woman who I think her name is Jofiel,
something like that,
who is an angel, clearly an angel. She looks like an angel from a Hallmark Christmas movie. She's wearing all white, except for she doesn't have a shirt underneath her like power blazer. But otherwise she looks like she's straight out of a fucking Hallmark Christmas movie.
Basically, she lifted Tilda Swinton's wardrobe from Constantine.
Oh, she kind of fucking did. You're right. She doesn't look anything like Tilda Swinton. She looks more like an extra from Legally Blonde or some shit. Yeah. But she definitely lifted Tilda Swinton's wardrobe. She looks a lot like that. So she tells them to release the tough guy brother. So again, the kind of nude women come up and clean him again by licking him all over and then like dumping a cup of their saliva in his mouth. It's pretty fucking gross.
Yeah.
Probably honestly the grossest part of the movie. Like I was like, oh Jesus Christ. See, drinking a cup of someone's spit is so fucking yucky.
See, it's funny that you like I get it more now that you said that this director worked on Feast. Because that movie is so gross and over the top a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So now, like, this cup of spit in the mouth and the dog in the abdomen, like, all that kind of gross out, like, shock stuff makes more sense knowing that he worked on Feast, because that's all that movie is.
Yeah, that's definitely his MO here, right? They're going for the shock kills, the shock violence, the gross out stuff.
I think they do miss an opportunity here though, because so you have the angel saying to let him go, but he doesn't get let go. He fucking apparently beats up all the women who are like licking him and then runs off with a cube.
Yeah, at this point, they're very much taken off guard by the angel coming and telling them that they have to let him go. It's like that's not protocol at all, right? They don't know why. They're like, what are you talking about? And at this point, the head dude in charge, of like the operations is Christoph Waltz Cenobite.
Yeah.
But he gets the word from her, let him go. Excuse me, I have hiccups. Let him go. And he's like, okay, I gotta go talk to Pinhead. So he like runs off to Pinhead's, fucking bro cave and starts telling him about it. And in the meantime, I took it as the process is still happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's still going to the cleaners. He's still going to the surgeons, and they're trying to figure out what to to deal with this request from the angel, and in the meantime he fucking escapes basically.
It's actually constructed a little better than that, because so when he's getting washed, he actually slips an arm free and grabs one of the women, licking him by the back of her head, and then it cuts. Did
I miss that?
You might have. It's super subtle and super quick. But then
I must have missed that.
Like, I think the missed opportunity is having a scene where he's roughhousing with a bunch of naked women. He could have been giving them the coconut clunk, banging their heads together.
Could have been giving her a hanging vertical suplex.
Yeah.
Just remind me, because I was the first. I only watched this one time through, but there was the one scene, and I feel like it was with him. Where was it? Like during the process, though, he was getting all of the rejections, like when they were eating the letter that had everything he did, and then like when the women, the jurors, like down below, like they started getting negatively impacted by him because the process was still going. Is that when that happened, or is that a little bit later?
Well, they do have a negative response to him right off the bat when the guy, like the assessor guy, just basically starts choking and vomiting black shit, down there. So then they have a negative response, but then later on they come back around as well. So he has like two interactions with them.
Okay. I just want to make sure that was when it happened, because I remember that being a thing, because I thought that was like pretty important. But I also felt like so there's a lot of things that I was like okay with this movie, but the things that I don't like in them kind of changing the whole like story in ways was that like angel character. I felt like I didn't like this dynamic that now all of a sudden they're playing, I think, too far into, I think, where Pinhead's being developed in ways to be like, okay, I just oversee this side of, I oversee hell, and then you have this angel figure like that. I feel like, and I don't know what happened in the other movies. Like maybe Steve, you can speak to that, because I don't know if this is the first time.
This is the first time they really bring up an angel. Like I said, there is that bit I was talking about in the comics, but even then, the comics that I did read never have any angelic or like God or like anything that would give any kind of hope or any sort of higher bureaucracy to Pinhead. Like Pinhead is always number one.
Yeah, and that's what I always feel like that took away from. That somehow maybe Pinhead wasn't this like all powerful being who could be like the arbiter of like, pain and death, and like even assessment. I could accept it, or in like, as him developing that way, but I didn't love that aspect in this one.
I think it's like, this is the 10th fucking movie. You know what I mean?
Like, so how can we be unique now?
What are we going to do? Because we know at this point, like, Pinhead is the fucking star. Like, Pinhead is what people are coming to see. So let's make some conflict for Pinhead. You know what I mean? And in this instance, it's, and we'll get to it, because it comes to like him kind of like being this weird, like, I don't want to say anti-hero, but it's kind of like, I'm going to stand up to the hypocrisy of God. And he ultimately pays a price for that, or the ultimate price, perhaps. We don't really know, but we'll get to that in the end. But I did like that Pinhead got some redemption and reckoning of his own. And it's like, if you're not going to do that, I mean, if you would have done that in the third movie, it might have been jumping the shark, but it's the fucking 10th movie. You know
we didn't really touch on, you guys probably have like mildly, like, but the new Pinhead, he just reminds me of like Prometheus a lot. Did you guys like?
Yeah,
he's like, see that a little bit. His name, it's Paul T. Taylor is the guy's name, and I honestly thought he did a pretty good job. Yeah, he's effective. He looks cool. He honestly looks more. I mean, he's not the Pinhead we know, but he's pretty damn close, and he's very sinister looking. I feel like he has more like angular features that make him seem like pretty. I don't know. He pulls off the demon. I haven't seen 9, but I have seen, we talked about in the last movie, or the last episode, 9 has the Pinhead that looks like he got stung by bees, or just
like a fat baby.
He looks like he just like had an allergic reaction to shellfish.
Yeah.
And like this one, he looks fucking demonic. He looks cool.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool. There's with the exception of like a couple scenes, because he has like a really high collar, and it pushes into his neck and it gives him a double chin sometimes, and it's just like, don't give Pinhead a double chin.
Yeah, you don't like that. You don't want that. No, don't do that.
That's good.
But yeah, so anyway, Tough Bro escapes. We talked about, Pinhead's kind of like, he's like, we got to go after him, and Pinhead's like, no, he'll be back. So Tough Bro takes Fancy Bro back to the house, and nothing's there, right? So Tough Bro does that kind of like style of brooding drinking where you just sit at a spot in the silence with a bottle and a tumbler and just like tip it into your mouth. Like, I feel like that's such a cliche of like badass guys drinking their feelings. Like, they all do it the same way.
Yeah.
But he goes to bed, and there's some dang Cenobites in his bedroom, including the Chatterer, who just show up for a minute, this solidified this for me. He's basically like the Goldar of the Hellraiser universe.
Yeah.
Which is like he's like Rita Repulsa's number 2. Like, that's what the Chatterer is. He's like
always
kind of
there,
like
but always just getting dunked on. Nobody cares.
Yeah, he is the fucking Goldar of this whole thing. Like, I love that character. But so then they the fucking Janus Cenobite twins show up, and they put this kind of mask on him, and they do some stuff, and he wakes up. It's kind of, you don't really fucking know what they were trying to do. But the wife thinks it's all like him having PTSD symptoms from his time in military service. So she confronts him, and then they have like sleepy bones, but he's still having weird flashbacks. So like then he jumps up and bails and just like grabs his bottle and like runs out the door, but he does have enough time to put his tough guy leather jacket on.
Yes.
Which I thought was kind of funny
because he's super tough.
Yeah.
So
and then answer me this. So then he's outside stumbling around drunk, drinking out of the bottle in the alleyway. Is that Frank that shows up out in the fucking alleyway with the jury woman?
No.
And they have the Levent configured? Doesn't it kind of look like Frank though? He's just got like the totally ripped off face, like mid transition Frank.
No. It is just it's just the guy from the intro.
Oh fuck yes, it is that guy, isn't it?
Because you see him once with just regular fucking pervert, and then he does have his face ripped off, but that's just
you're
like.
Right.
That's just doing them the thing where like people's faces get ripped off.
Yeah, you're right. It is
happens,
that guy.
It happens in Hellseeker too, when Dean Winters is running through the halls of the police station basement. He runs past a janitor's closet or whatever, and there's a guy hooked up with chains, just exactly like Frank.
Yeah,
but it's probably not.
I just thought. Yeah, you're right. I thought for a quick second there was like some kind of fan service-y thing that they were doing there, but. No. At this point, the Fancy Bro kind of confides in the other detective that, what's going on with Tough Bro, and she kind of partially tells him that she's there because of his behavior. And Tough Bro wakes up drunk outside his house. Fancy Bro gives him a talking to, and then like sees some cryptic shit highlighted in the book, and that's where he kind of gets the quote from Charles Dickens that gives him that showed up in the preceptor letters, and he's like, okay, now he kind of starts to figure it out. But
which again is back to this whole like dumb big brain time stuff of like he's highlighting Charles Dickens thinking it's deep,
highlighting and underlining it. Both
these lines are really important to me.
He took 2 writing utensils, a highlighter and a pen, underlined and then highlighted it. So this is very important.
This is how I end the world with 18th century fucking English literature.
And I didn't even read the first book. It's literally the first paragraph of the book.
And it also comes up. There's a scene with Tough Bro and the lady detective, in which she mentions like he's supposed to be smart and well read. He has read 2 books, A Tale of Two Cities and the Bible. He is not fucking well read. He's not smart.
And he saw A Christmas Carol. He saw the one with Patrick Stewart on TBS. Yeah. Like he didn't even read the book. So he's not exactly a fucking intellectual, but so they found the dog victim's phone in the dog woman, the victim that had the dog in her. They find her phone in her throat, and apparently it was turned on so they can like track it back to this like building or whatever. One quick little scene is the coroner that tells them about the phone, he's kind of just a funny, weird little character that just like injects a little bit of humor into there. He's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, and he's like this kind of like, you know, older, kind of just goofy guy who just has all the balls in the world. He's just gonna like hit on the detective and stuff. You're like, what are you doing, bro? Like, he's like, I haven't seen you before. You single? And she's like, fuck you.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes, are you joking? Are you fucking joking? Just such a weird little character.
Why is it every coroner is like that? Because if you think back to the Wolf of Snow Hollow, that dude was a total fucking dickhead too. And like he got into a physical fight.
I think the whole idea is like the coroner is just like, for you to want that job, you've got to be like kind of a quirky individual, I guess. I don't know, but that is definitely a trope in these movies. But then they go to the spot where the cell phone GPS led them to, and there's all the pictures, not even just photos, posters. Like he went to Kinko's and fucking printed these posters of all his victims on the wall, and the last picture is dun dun dun, it's Christine. It's the detective. So Tough Bro. Isn't that who it is?
Bro. No.
Who is it?
No, the last photo is his wife. It's his wife.
It's his wife. It's his wife in Fancy Bro. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wrote Christine, but that's not his wife's name. Yeah, that was a typo on my part.
She's with him and sees it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I wrote Christine, and that's why it says. Yes, it's Fancy Bro. It's his wife and Fancy Bro. His wife and his brother have been having an affair. Yeah. So you learn it at that point. Tough Bro kind of knocks out the detective. Fancy Bro shows up. Tough Bro takes him at gunpoint. Over that.
He beat the fuck out of her. Like,
he wails on her. Yeah, he wails on her. It's a little disturbing.
I was not expecting her to get up again.
Yeah, he really pistol whips the shit out of her, and they really.
And then he also like gets on top of her and like starts wailing on her. Yeah, it's a pretty brutal scene. I'm just like spiraling towards the end of this movie, so I'm kind of going through.
I'm just spiraling at everybody.
So like I said, Fancy Bro shows up, takes him at gunpoint. They get this flashback to how he learned that he was the killer. Again, it's not rocket science, but he lures his wife there, explains his whole kind of like religious slant to him being like some sort of like righteous, deliverer of justice or whatever. He explains, he knew his wife cheated on him, and then makes them open the lament configuration together. This is his master plan. It's not well thought out. Pinhead shows up, and the Tough Bro offers his wife and his brother in exchange for him. And Pinhead says, hey, sounds like a cool deal. Can't do it because you're already spoken for, basically. Yeah. Like your soul is already spoken for kind of thing. So the auditor, wants you already. So, he's going through, you're going to go through all that nonsense again. You're going to go to the cleaners and to the fucking surgeon and all that stuff. The wife and Fancy Bro, they get the chains per usual. And then
I will say this Pinhead, like we've talked about how like Pinhead has like these pretty cool monologues. This Pinhead has one cool line at this scene, and it's like Fancy Bro and his wife and the wife are trying to argue for their salvation or whatever. And Pinhead turns to them and says, bow your head to the catalog of filth your brother has created.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Like, that's a cool really line.
Yeah, because they're basically like, he's the bad guy, like, you should let us go kind of thing.
Right.
And they're basically like, you what you've done can't. He says something like, I don't care about your petty adultery.
Right, yeah.
Bow to the catalog of filth. Or it's like, we like look up to this guy, how fucked up he is. Yeah. So like you are table scraps compared to him kind of thing. It was a good line. But so then all of a sudden the angel shows up and says, God wants Tough Bro on Earth to do, God wants him to go do hood rat shit with his friends, so he can drive people towards God. So the whole idea is like, if we need evil people on Earth, so it will drive people to God, and it's like can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs type of thing. So it's this whole like jaded hypocrisy of God kind of thing.
Be good or the preceptor will get you.
yeah, basically.
Which is very much like Santa Claus, sort of.
I'm telling you, this is a Christmas movie. I've explained this to you.
So is mine. Mine has snow.
But yours is also in Denver, so...
Yours does have snow.
Yeah.
That's true. I can't argue with that logic. So he thinks this is the part where you're just like, yeah, you're not a fucking mental giant here, bud. So he thinks that he's been forgiven. But the angel just is like, no, you're still going to hell when you die. You're just not dying yet.
Yeah.
Basically. But then Pinhead pulls some slick shit on him and sends him back right at the moment before the detective Christine is about to shoot him. And the angel is pissed. She's like
so mad.
She's so fired up. She's like, that was a dirty trick, basically. And the angel threatens Pinhead with suffering. And Pinhead is like, basically makes her do cosplay of him.
Right.
And sticks all the pins in her forehead. And does the face stretch, and rips her in half before saying the thing. He says his thing. And then Christoph Waltz Pinhead, I love this line, is basically like, I don't think you should have done that. He just says like right afterwards. He's my favorite character. Christoph Waltz Pinhead
he's very good.
He's cool. It's a cool character. He's cool lines. Like I really like that character. But so here's the thing is like Christoph Waltz Pinhead says, I don't think you should have done that. And Pinhead's like, whatever, I'm Pinhead. Like, what is she going to give me that I can't endure? Like, I love this shit, And what you come to learn is they put Pinhead in a human body on Earth, and Pinhead starts screaming and freaking out because he's not suffering. You know what I mean? So the ultimate punishment for Pinhead is no punishment. Basically, you just have to live on Earth, and you don't get any punishment.
Although strangely, like if you wanted to give him not suffering, like you don't make him a homeless person in L.A.
That's what I was saying. It's like you could do worse not suffering.
Yeah.
What if he was just like at Discovery Zone, like eating a pizza?
Right.
What if he was just like sitting there watching Friends on the couch? Like that seems like less suffering than,
or he has to be
living in a box in Skid Row.
Yeah, he has to work at a Chuck E. Cheese as Charles E. Entertainment.
I was gonna say maybe they should just make him work at a place like Kennywood or something. Like send him to Pittsburgh and work at Kennywood.
Yeah, he's got to work at the potato patch.
Yeah, he's got to work where people are having fun and he has fun with them and they enjoy his company.
Yeah, where people love him. Yeah, he should be like Santa Claus, like or something like that. But
I don't know if we missed talking about this at all, but like the auditor is the director.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
oh, really?
I just was looking at the cast as we were sitting here, and I was like, wait, Gary J. How do you say? It's like Tunicliffe or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the auditor. Which
that's awesome.
I was like, it also makes sense why his fucking makeup was so fucking dope.
Yeah. He worked on himself. That's cool to know. I did not realize that, but now it makes sense because when you look up Gary J. Tunnicliffe or whatever on IMDb, underneath, normally it'll say like writer, director, whatever. It says makeup department, special effects, actor. Like it doesn't even mention director. And I was like, what did he act in? And I never followed up to actually look. But yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's awesome, actually. Because he's the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that is Hellraiser Judgment. It very different, very divergent from any of the other Hellraiser movies, and I hated most of the other ones, so that was a welcomed aspect for me. I wouldn't say it's certainly not better than 1 or 2. I would say it's certainly not better than 4, but I would put it on par with like 3 in my mind, which means watchable. Like fine, it's fine. I watched it and went, oh, okay.
I feel like something else it had in its favor is that I feel like special effects and like even just the filming of things, like aesthetically looked better in your film versus say ours, though. I mean, time and place has a lot to do with that.
It's almost 2 decades later, but
so it has that going for it. And I mean, it definitely had the gore factor, which I was cool with. I appreciated to a certain extent that like they're like, we need to come up with something different, whereas both of our films like had like basically the same continuity with like what was going on. Though I felt like your two films, like I felt like 5 and 10 kind of had this like, it's like, why did you feel like you needed to go this cop route,
right.
type again? And I feel like that wasn't as original as I think if I didn't watch 5 first or something, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't even remember, but yeah, they're basically the same film again. It's just Brian's cop character is way dumber. Like,
Brian will definitely make a difference.
He's dumber, but I can watch him on screen without grinding my teeth.
Well, yeah, he's a flat actor, but there's no real good acting with the exception of the auditor and a little bit of the pinhead. I think this pinhead is okay. Obviously, Doug Bradley
is. I thought like the character of like the guy at the beginning, which is the most effective scene, frankly, which is at the beginning. The guy who's like the first person who gets like audited, I thought was pretty good, was pretty convincing.
I wonder that beginning scene is so like constricted within itself.
Yeah,
I wonder if
it almost felt like a weird little Sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly what you're saying. I just wonder if that was like filmed first as like a short film, as like a proof of concept short film, and then they did something later. But
yeah, it definitely was the most, like the dialogue seemed a lot more polished and like the cadence was better. It rolled better, than the rest of the dialogue in the movie. But
there is one thing in this film that is aggravating to me, but I don't know that either of you picked up on it. So the house is located at a specific address, and the address comes up multiple times. You see it, and it's like 55 Ludovico.
Yeah, I remember from the computer, in the like, the pervert's room, the dark room. Yeah.
So Ludovico, it feels like it's a reference to A Clockwork Orange, because the Ludovico process was the punishment they inflicted on Alex.
Oh, it's been a long time since I saw that movie.
So this whole house is a house of punishment for the people who come to the house. Because what's set up at the very beginning between the auditor and Pinhead is that the lament configuration no longer brings in enough sinners. So they're using this new house as a trap. But the other part of this, aside from being a Clockwork Orange reference, is Ludovico is the Italian way of saying Ludwig. And so the outside establishing shots of the house, they play Beethoven's Fleur Elise, Ludwig von Beethoven. This is such a dickhead thing to do in filmmaking. Reference upon reference.
So deep, bro. It's so
That's
deep.
so obnoxious.
Yeah.
And you know what, too? And listen, I'm a huge Kubrick fan because it was... Listen, nobody can discredit Kubrick as an incredible filmmaker, but that's like one of the directors you get into when you're like a teenager. You know what I mean? Like you first get into like Kubrick movies and start, all that sort of thing. So I feel like doing a Kubrick reference is like a little bit of like a broy juvenile thing to do too. I don't know.
Not necessarily broy, but it's very film school.
That's good. Film school bro. Yeah, film school bro kind of thing. Yeah, is a better way of putting it. So, but yeah. So, like I said, didn't love the movie. Didn't hate the movie. Wasn't mad that I had to watch it, and it didn't take me several sittings to watch. So, I mean, I think it's probably pretty clear to say. Obviously, I would say this because I'm arguing for my movie, but I liked it head and shoulders more than both of your movies.
I thought you were just gonna say that you were the champ, and then we were just not gonna have votes. Like
no. I don't know if you agree, but like I definitely thought it was exponentially better than the other two
I'm
movies.
looking at this in retrospective, literally, I mean, thinking about it as the whole franchise and then seeing like what aspects, like kind of, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like to a certain extent, maybe with this franchise, I feel like part of me wants to say what kind of holds true and what kind of stays closer to like what we've seen before and like who Pinhead is and blah 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 versus like what's good and bad. You know what I mean?
So you want it to stay the same through 10?
No. But I feel like I don't think that's exactly what I'm saying. But I feel like this franchise doesn't always do a great job at creating. It's like when we see a Halloween movie, there are things that we're going to see throughout every single one that, you know, obviously with some certain changes, like depending on the director and stuff like that. And that's what I'm getting at is more so like I don't really think this franchise has that. So, but I think to a certain extent, I like want to hold on to that. I mean, these are just things I'm talking out loud at this point, Brian. So please don't attack me. I'm going to fucking
Most people do talk out loud. I did want to say also
I said
that
think out loud.
No, you said talk out loud.
Okay, whatever. Let's go back to the recording. Let's go back to the tape, guys.
So here's the
I meant think out loud.
I know what you thought.
Meg, you'll be able to hear this every Monday.
This is the other thing. And listen, and I'm not trying to be a stickler here, but when recording a podcast, you have to talk out loud. But no, what I was going to say was my movie. I don't say my movie because Steve picked it for me, but so it's the only one that feels like a Hellraiser movie. Like it's a different twist on a Hellraiser movie, but right from the beginning, you're getting Cenobites doing Cenobite shit right from the beginning.
My movie had Cenobite shit right at the beginning. When he opens the box with the hooker, you get a whole bunch of his Cenobite stuff.
It's true, but then you go a huge stretch where you're just like, yeah, we're watching a Seven ripoff, and then Pinhead really isn't in your movie until the last 15 minutes.
Right.
I mean, he really isn't. They might have his voiceover or something like that, but he's not in it till the end. I think all of them were scripts that weren't originally Hellraiser scripts, probably. But I would say 10 is definitely the most cohesive as a Hellraiser movie.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
it was definitely written as a Hellraiser movie. I think it fucking sucks as like a Cop 7 ripoff.
Yeah.
Just because the motivations of the tough cop are fucking so low, and like his actual process is garbage, and just he's not good at being a serial killer. Like at least you can kind of believe my engineer, and in Hellseeker, Kirsty has good motivation to murder.
Yeah, but Kirsty is not. I mean, literally, only the last 15 minutes of both of your movies were watchable. I mean, I'm sorry. That's as strong as an argument as I can kind of come up with. But I will say, like, I don't know if you've seen. So I've been on a Christmas horror tear because there's so many new Christmas horror movies that came out like in the last few years, and I was watching one called Once Upon a Time at Christmas. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
No.
But it's a serial killer type of thing. You know, that's whatever. I'm pretty sure Once Upon a Time at Christmas almost ripped off Hellraiser Judgment. that ripped off 7, except for replace the 10 Commandments with the 12 Days of Christmas.
Nice.
That's fucking hilarious.
Nice.
So just
that actually
FYI,
sounds fun.
watch
that could be.
It
fun.
is fun.
All right,
it is fun.
What are our final arguments here? I mean.
Here's my summation, and then I'll shut up. Mine's the only one that's watchable. Both of your movies are absolute fucking horseshit, and there's only between 10 and 15 minutes that are watchable the whole movie.
I would argue that mine is watchable as long as you don't watch 6 or 10 before it, being that they both do what my film does, but worse.
They're watchable if you have another form of entertainment. Like your phone, or
which is everybody, so that's fine.
My final argument is Kirsty Cotton. So in all reality, mine is closer to like the OGs than either of your films.
Meg's final argument is, imagine how good this movie would be with Tony Todd in it.
You know what also? It's like, that's pretty much like making the argument my movie is the best of the franchise because it's closer to the first movie in the franchise. Like timeline wise.
But mine is because mine's 5.
I know, but but I'm saying that's kind of like the same argument. You know what I mean? Like it has somebody who's in the first movie in it. Although she's in it at the beginning and then she comes back as the hero at the end. But the whole middle part is Dean Winters just going, "What? Huh? No. What? Huh?"
Dean Winters deciding if he wants to fuck or not.
Yeah, just squinting, going, I don't know. My wife just died. Come on.
I ain't trying to get my dick sucked right now. Come on.
All right, I'm not going to try.
Cut me a break.
I'm going to vote for mine because I know this is where I was going to go, is that I'm probably going to be the tiebreaker here. So
you are going to be the tiebreaker, yes.
Fuck you both.
So I'm definitely rooting for my movie.
And of course, yeah. Go ahead.
And my second is going to be Steve's.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to vote for mine. And then my second would be Brian because it's just my movie again, but it has that cool line and the cool auditor. So, Meg?
Man, I have so much power right now.
I will say, remember who gave you your movie.
I had never seen that movie. Listen to me.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
If you can,
I feel like this is my Ghost of Mars month.
This is a complete this is irrelevant information that Steve's providing.
But you know what, Meg? He has seen 3, and he could have given you 3.
But this is also irrelevant information because the question is, which is better?
I gave him Judgment. It's not that bad. But he gave you Hellseeker, which is trash.
Which is better?
Wow.
Judgment or Inferno?
Right,
if you could say with a straight face that Inferno is better than Judgment, you will go to hell.
Hey Brian, you're bullying me right now, and I don't like it.
There's no way.
Remember that Brian only hates Inferno because he hates the lead actor. If you don't hate the lead actor, it's okay. And it still has Doug Bradley as Pinhead, which is better.
That is literally the only thing it has on it. Everything else is a way worse version of Judgment.
All right, I made a decision.
Okay. Don't you son of a bitch. You will not get any herring in your stocking if you do this.
I like how, Brian, you're legit going towards bullying.
You get no herring in your stocking if you do this because you know you're wrong.
You're so mean. I am going to go with Brian.
You have to. And it's not even anything that I can necessarily celebrate.
I honestly think it was just the auditor that I liked more of the special effects. I think that's more
also that movie's got some titties on it. Damn.
A lot of boobs. I do like that. Speaking of boobs, guys, I've been wanting to bring this up with you. Did you guys catch Tom Savini's 75th birthday photo? Or I should say
had some thirst
trap? That was
really?
a fucking thirst trap on fucking Instagram. Dang.
Yeah, he's just ripped holding a cake with no shirt.
Yeah, he is fucking
I know,
ripped.
he is fucking jacked. Dude's always been like that.
I was like, dang. Can't believe I'm attracted to a 75-year-old man.
Listen, I'm attracted to a 75-year-old man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so listen, I can't take any credit for this. Steve gave me a present, an early Christmas present, and then he gave me a watchable movie.
Which means I'm still champ because I gave him the present. Ha!
You won by proxy in ways.
Yeah, yep. in a way.
And I lost on all accounts, and I'm gonna have a lonely Christmas. You know,
I ruined your.
I'm
Christmas.
gonna have a blue Christmas. Is that what that song is called?
Yeah.
I cannot believe you gave it to him after he gave you that dog shit turd of a movie, which is
honestly,
second worst Hellraiser movie.
Bullied me the entire time afterwards.
Don't let him bully you.
Yeah.
I didn't bully you. I just said look deep into your conscience.
No, you're like, you suck if you choose this movie.
Bullied her. You said she was going to hell.
Herring. You know. I expect
I did threaten no herring.
I do expect now at this point, Brian, that I will get a stocking full of herring from you.
I will. I will give you a stocking brimming with herring, just overflowing
Can you say
with
brining with herring? Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Brimming with brim. Isn't that a fish? Anyway, guys, yes, I can't take credit for it. It was definitely the best movie, although I did not pick it. And if it means anything, I did not know how bad Hellseeker was when I gave it to you. Genuinely did not know how bad it was.
See, I was hedging bets when I gave it to you, Brian, because I was like, I know it's not that bad. It's not like the worst one. Yeah. But also, it doesn't have Doug Bradley, so I don't know how that would play with Meg.
Yeah, I was very worried about that, but then I was pleasantly surprised that he actually did a good job. I picked Hellseeker just based on Dean Winters, and he did not deliver. And I'll tell you this: if I could go back in time, I would not have picked that because it was torturous to sit through.
Yeah, it's like the second worst one.
It's seriously so fucking bad.
Yeah, like
couldn't.
Like Hellworld is fucking abysmal and awful, and that's probably the third worst one. No, that's
okay.
7.
Wait, what's 9 again?
Revelations.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
This is the thing. I have to watch Revelations now. Like, I have to. I've watched all of them except for 8 and 9 now, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to.
Well,
but I don't want to. We've definitely committed. I've definitely personally committed a lot of time to this franchise, and I do need to finish it out at some point.
Well, as new champion, you can decide what our punishment film is.
Oh God, are you gonna do it?
I can't do it to myself. No, I can't do it to myself. And I'm too big of a fan of Christmas horror. I've got to do a Christmas horror movie. So I don't know what it's going to be. Honestly, what I would like to do, and listen, in the spirit of the season, guys, in the spirit of the Yule, we should decide together what Christmas horror movie. And I'm not going to be mean. We're going to do a reward, and I think we should do a live watch through or viewing kind of thing of maybe my favorite Christmas horror movie, Santa's Sleigh, starring the great Bill Goldberg.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of holiday horror movies, so I definitely will defer to you guys, and I'm up for a live. I think that'd be fun.
I love the thing. You could go good, like you could go, Black Christmas, which is genuinely a really great fucking movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go silly, crazy nonsense like Jack Frost or Santa's Sleigh. But I grew up loving Santa's Sleigh. Or I'm sorry, I grew up loving Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Like watching it on VHS fucking all the time when I was a kid. It was like that, Motel Hell. Like those were the movies I would watch all the fucking time. And then Head of the Family. And then I honestly watched Santa's Sleigh for the first time like 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And have just, I watch it 3 times a year. I fucking love it. It's so funny. It's so stupid. It's so entertaining.
I only watched it once and I hated it so much.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I watched it when it first came out. So I don't know. Maybe I would have a different appreciation for it.
All right. We'll figure it out next week. But I will tell you, as the new champ, we got some goddamn Christmas horror coming your way next week for our mini-sode. So be sure to tune in for that. And you know what? Hey, how about this? If you got a suggestion for a Christmas horror movie that you haven't watched, we got some mini-sodes coming up here in the month of December. So throw them our way, and we might watch them. We might do an episode on them. So as always, send them to us in the old DMs if you want on Instagram at Halloween is Forever, or at Hallow Forever on Twitter, or Halloween is Forever on Facebook, or at Halloween is Forever Pod on TikTok. Again, we have not established whether there's DMs on there. I do not know. I will not check. And then, Halloween is Forever Pod at gmail.com. You can send them to that way as well. So anything else as we wrap up our Showdown episode for the month of December and the some of the worst Hellraiser movies ever made?
No, that's it.
I'm sad now. I'm just sad.
We're all just gonna go pull a pinhead, sit in a chair facing a wall, and just contemplate what we've done to ourselves and our friends.
Just remember that the audience did do this to us, in that they voted for Hellraiser movies.
That's true. Let's blame it on them. Thanks a lot, you rat bastards.
So Meg, blame the audience and Brian.
you ruined Meg's Christmas.
I have a birthday coming up before that, so birthdays.
You ruined Meg's birthday too. Thanks a lot. Cool job, guys. Really like what you've done here.
Send me presents.
Yeah. As always, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
We'll see you around. Bye.